When you said add that K for the twist, I was like, K, that's you. I just got a full body chill, like something came through right now.
It's real. Like, you're not ever gonna see your little brother grow up. But when I heard that, it just made me want to cry. Because when someone's telling you a secret, they've chosen you.
Time to get loud. Welcome back to Loud Talk with Lavi, a podcast where we break down the walls of beauty standards one flaw at a time. And today we are talking about something so beyond important: mental health. We all know mental health is messy, and I have a really amazing guest on. This is actually part 2 with Kaylee, who opened up about sharing the day her world changed forever, the day she lost her 15-year-old little brother, Liam, to suicide. In part 1, Kaylee told the story of how at the young age of just 20 years old, she lost her best friend, her soul's mirror, and the light of her life, Liam, her younger brother, walking us through of different stories of how Liam continued to give her signs after his passing and what she did moving forward to turn pain into purpose. In part 2 of this episode, we open up about the legacy that she takes on to create LowCure by Liam, a clothing brand using Liam's actual designs that she has brought to life since his passing. Talking about the importance of mental health movement, getting educated, and knowing that mental health does not always look the same. Depression doesn't always look the same. This is one of the most important podcasts I've ever recorded, and I'm so incredibly honored to be the one interviewing Kaylee to share her story. So if you haven't already, give part 1 a listen, and let's get loud and continue hearing on Kaylee's story.
So it was like that duck moment. And there's been so many other stories.
Oh, I'm sure.
When my grandpa passed away, or it was my last visit in the hospital, again, didn't even notice. He wasn't even able to walk. He wasn't able to have a conversation. I wasn't even able to see him because COVID had shut down the hospital. One of the nurses had like back rooted me, be able to like come in the back door so I could say my final goodbye to my grandfather. And I've heard how horrible he's doing. And not to undermine it, he was in horrible, horrible shape. And like, we didn't know if he was gonna, every morning, every hour, right? It was that bad. And I arrive and he sits up on the bed and he goes, "You want to go for a walk?" Well, I just heard that you couldn't walk, but yeah, sure. Kind of a little thrown off. We start going out and he starts walking around the hospital and all the nurses, "John, how you feeling today?" And he goes, "You want to go dancing?" And then just like the jokes, the energy. And he actually shared a bunch of his family history and story. And I stayed at the hospital, I think four hours maybe or something. And then I left. And like, I don't know how you feel when you leave and you say goodbye. Like, I don't even know. Grief is so complex, and there's no way to grieve, and there's no right way to grieve, and there's no orientation of how it goes. Everyone does it differently, and everyone has a different story, and everyone processes in their own way. So in my way, it's just like, I think for me, I have like the gift, it can be a curse and a gift to have like an emotional turnoff, because I can't speak if I'm gonna cry. So I go into facts. Okay, these are facts. I can speak facts as facts without having to shed a tear. And that's why I can speak on this sort of stuff. And so for me, it's like putting up that wall of just being like, survival mode. Okay, add it to the trauma list of things we're learning through. Like, when I say learning, I mean learning, because I'm learning about myself. I'm learning about how I process emotions and what's going on. And so I basically was like, I can't go back to the house with all my family, and my aunts and my uncles, and like I just need to like take a sec. So I actually drove to that same very beach. Like, that was just my beach. I just loved it. So I drove to that beach, and it's January, to put in perspective, like end of January. So like birds have all left, right? Like they migrated. And on the way after, as soon as I got out of the hospital, Celine Dion's song came on, Courage.
There's that word again.
Ironic. And I actually screenshot it because I sat in the car being like, is someone talking to me right now? And I should be crying. Probably should be crying, but I'm like, I'm not crying. Okay, we're survival mode. We're like not crying. So I go, okay, I can't go home. I can't do this. So we're going to the beach. So go to the beach, okay? And I say, all right, well, let's just walk around. So I get out and I start walking. I kid you not, almost 100 ducks. Like, I show you the photos. Swarms, like just swarms of ducks. Like, they just didn't stop coming. I don't even know where they were coming from the lake. They were all swimming where they landed, and I don't know, hundreds. And they're running at me, and I'm not scared of the animals, but I'm like, Whoa, we're
It's not concerning with
outnumbered.
that many ducks
We're
running at
outnumbered.
you.
They got beaks.
Yeah.
Maybe they're hungry. Maybe they're saying, get out of my space. And here I am. And I say, like, put my tripod up. I'm like, let's take some photos, because at that point I had no memory. And I still to this day, like, you know, trauma definitely makes things foggy. So the only way I could actually capture and remember what's happened the last 5 years is if I actually took a photo or had recollection.
And can look back.
And I could look back and be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. So that was one of those moments. I literally saw these photos again, like I think 6 months ago, and I went, what? I completely forgot about this. And I looked through the photos, I'm like, how many ducks are there? And they're all Millard ducks, the green ducks, right? Didn't make the connection. But then let's macro out. Is that still a duck? Yeah, that's still a duck. We have a theme here of ducks. There being ducks everywhere. And I don't know if that's like my thing. Ducks. There's been like, and since then, like I've been followed by animals. Like there was coyotes, there was beavers. I had a full-on performance by a beaver. I've never seen a beaver in person. There was one time I was taking pictures of a sunrise, sunset, my thing, but taking pictures of sunset, and out of the distance, literally, there's like it's a vacant farm, like it's Privis, okay, so it's farmland, like everyone owns land, but like animals are running free. Nothing's there. It's literally the sky's purple. So I'm stopped taking photos. And as I'm taking photos, I look, and from the distance, there's these two horses just running. Low-key scared. These horses running like, oh, cool, magical. And I'm like, they're running in. Hey, what? They come running up to the fence. I don't know whose horses. I literally stopped to take pictures. They look at me. They come down on like. I think it's really funny when big animals lie down because they're just so out of proportion.
Yeah.
I think cows lying down are the funniest thing. I love driving through the forums. I just like laugh the whole time. Like, you're so fat, and you're like, your legs are so tiny. So these horses, way bigger than a cow, they look at me, go down, and then they roll on their back with their feet up. And they just like, I don't know, like when you scratch your back, something like that, kind of doing dance.
Like a dog.
Yeah. And they're like two massive, and horses are huge, right? So like, it's funny when a dog does it. It's funny when a cow does it, but I'm like, a horse.
I've never seen a horse.
Upside down?
Yeah.
And they start rolling in the snow. And then they get up, look at me, and they run off. Well, like after I like touched them and stuff. And they ran off. And as if nothing happened. I just went, what? Literally the next hour, a beaver came up to me. A totally different venue, totally different spot. And then I came home and there were 10 bunnies waiting at the front door for me. Like these are things that happen often, or there's moments where like there's a Liam moment and there's a bird circling over the house. There's just been so many different things. So it's just like, whatever you believe, if people chat with you or give you signs or like give you, they can't maybe speak with you, but they try.
Yeah, it's still a form of communication.
So it's just like these stories. So during this time, I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And then December hit and I shut down. And that's like to full circle the story. We talked about the 1 year. And I was thriving. And I mean, when I say thriving, I was thriving through chaos and pain and grief. But I was really running with this energy of pain into purpose. Don't hide your story. Don't make looking like grief is easy, because it's not. And look at all the 15-year-old kids right now who are looking to you. You just spoke, and they're thinking of you as an inspiration of being able to like grieve in a kind way. If that's a funny word to say. But I was like, that's what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be that older sister role model of like, I see what's happening, and I see the people hurting, and I see all the little boys hurting, and all the little boys, right? Like anybody that age is like my little brother, like little sister. Because if you have someone in that age, everyone that age is. So I'm looking at that, and it was the duck moment for sure that made the change. But by the end of the year, it was like I didn't care about all of those different things. The fog went away. And it was literally, I was posting every single day, and I had started building a social media following, and people were like, holy moly, like this girl is turning pain into purpose. And though I've been off social media for the last 4 years, literally a ghost, which is ironic because I was pursuing so much inspiration, motivational speaking, and different stuff like that. And then all of a sudden I just went off the planet. And let me be real, it's for that reason. It was like, I was processing, but I wasn't processing. And then that first anniversary came around, and it was like, holy, it's real. Like, you're not ever going to see your little brother grow up.
Yeah.
You're not going to ever, like, we were supposed to travel the world together. We're never going to do that. His dream was to live on a boat in Australia. He'll never do that. All these different things. And that's when I say the fog comes. And then it very much correlates with that book. To be honest, I never read it. You asked me that question at the start. I should probably answer that. I never read it. My older brother did. And he was the one who told me that. And he goes, well, great. So this is what we say is the best year. And I was like, well, we'll see. No, it really did suck a lot after. It did suck. But it was like trying to now I've created this not persona, but like I've created this alternate version of myself that is
Mm-hmm.
turning pain into purpose. But then now reality is set in and I want to curl up in a ball and hide it in a hole. And I don't want to talk to anybody and I don't want to be associated with anybody. I just can't even believe what's happened. So that's again, like even my own journey showcases like there's so many like don't take my story and be like Kaylee's so strong and stuff. I mean, yes, I appreciate those comments, but let me
It's a
just tell you,
dynamic,
it's it
yeah.
there's the I
There's
will be the first
levels.
one telling you about my panic attacks and my breakdowns.
Right.
I'll be the first one telling you I didn't get out of bed for a week and
Mm-hmm.
sorry I look like an alien today, but I haven't actually showered. Don't smell me, please. Like, you know? So I will share that stuff, but then I was just like, I don't have any energy to share anything to anybody because I don't have energy to look after myself. And that's when my health started falling down. And then there are all these other complications. And then the reality of grandpa's passing hit. And then the reality of Lucy's passing hit. And she was my rock. And your first childhood animal is like the biggest
Yeah,
loss for
totally.
sure, especially because they're pivotal in your upbringing.
Totally.
And so it was like all my childhood pillars, because my grandpa was my last grandparent alive. So I have no grandparents alive right now. So I was like, I've lost every foundational pillar that's made Kaylee. The family, the amount of people in our family, my grandpa, like your last grandparent, my family dogs, and then my little brother who has been my best friend forever.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, like, who are you, right? This so that's when I say that. That year was my alternate self, and I'm so grateful that really just like put so much positivity in me. I stopped watching TV because TV, even if someone said a comment, I'd cry. There were
Yeah.
so many comments about mental health or like suicide comments on TV or side comments or whatever. And anytime it was said, I literally wanted to just like throw up. So I was like, no TV. We already know the world's in a very bad place right now
Yeah.
with COVID and everything that's changing. And I already know that and I already have too much. Nothing's going to change if I listen to the news.
Mhm.
Why don't we listen to motivation? And I like dove into personal growth. And that was like my personal growth journey. So like, yeah, I've been off the charts for a couple of years, but because it's been so much growth
Mhm.
and so much like redefinition of like what you want to be and who you want to role model as, who you want to showcase yourself as, and like just I guess not branding yourself, but I've built these businesses and K-Ray specifically, I've told you, I'll tell all of you as well, that K-Ray comes from Kaylee Ray Nishizawa is my name. Liam thought he was the coolest kid on the planet by mixing my middle name with my first name, K Ray. So he was like so proud of this. So yes, I started my first business before he passed away, but I actually started like one of my other businesses called Creative Image. And it's my photography, videography, social media. It's my media management is everything creation wise. And what was cool about that is when Liam passed away, I just didn't know what to do. So I just started taking photos of rocks, ironically, like of rocks. Kid you not. And like water and leaves. Like, wow, she's got a lot of time on her hands. Like, and like, I mean, I would be sitting out on the balcony of my patio, you know, I was walking. And one thing I also did during that time is I didn't want to see people. And I knew studying psych, studying mental health, studying kinesiology, just because you don't want to do it, that's probably the exact thing you need to do.
Yeah.
So if you're avoiding it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't want to go outside, but now I have Lucy because I brought Lucy in. So before Lucy even came, I did not leave that. I was not doing okay. Then Lucy came, and now if I don't bring her out, she's going to poo or pee on my floor, and I'm not supposed to have a pet. So I'm like, dang, Lucy. But really, she was my therapy dog.
Yeah.
She brought me out. So now I'm out in the streets, and I'm like, I'm walking around. And this story is totally irrelevant, but I think the story is like really, really beautiful, and I've led with that to who I've become. After Lillian passed away, our family was like in shambles. I don't even know. It's a blur. It wasn't good. And people were feeding us, of course, and there were a lot of people coming in and out. It's just, again, a blur. So my dad, ironically, the only thing he was doing was going to Superstore. Not because he needed anything, simply, but there was one cashier at Superstore that smiled at him. A genuine smile, not just like a, how you doing? Like, oh, hey, how you doing? She had no context that we just lost. He just lost a son. No context of what's going on. And he's obviously in a down mood. Okay. He's not feeling good. And I think he went to go get strawberries or something because he just wanted strawberries. And then this cashier smiled. And it was such a warm, genuine care smile, which is exactly what Liam does and who he is. And so when he had saw her and she smiled like, hi, like, hope you're having a good day. He didn't tell her what's going on. Japanese culture, you're very private. And so The next day he went back just to find her. The next day he went back just to find her, because at that time, that person's smile was the only energy that was getting him through losing his son. So my point of that is you do not realize your impact you have on people. And we talked about that at the start too. Like, you don't realize it's a blessing and it's a curse, because we impact people so positively, but we can absolutely impact them negatively. We can dump our problems on them, our stress, our like, our traumas. We can be negative and we can do that. But on the other side, we can literally fuel people and give them hope and resilience and inspiration.
Yeah, kind of like the way you said you're lighting up someone else's
tunnel. Exactly. And so this woman had no concept that she literally was the light at my dad's tunnel before we went to go bury her son. And so I asked him, the reason why I found that story, I said, Dad, why are you going to Superstore? People are like nonstop delivering food. And he told me, just Rick, there's a girl she's just really kind, and she just smiled at me. And it wasn't because she knew that like we lost Liam and she was trying to be kind. She had no concept. She was just kind. And I walked away from that, and like even further on that story, Liam hit every single person. And when I say you don't have to know Liam for 5 minutes or 5 years to have an impact, one of the people that like stick out the most is our eye doctor clinic and our dentist. You see them like what, once a year, once every 2 years. Do you even, I mean, this is probably bad to say, I pay attention now, but you don't really remember the staff. Maybe you do, but like how many people in your day you don't go very often. And the worst part after losing Liam was these clinics always call you up and say like, it's time to do your annual. So everyone would call it's time for Liam's annual checkup. And my mom couldn't even do like to tell people is one thing, to have it matter is another thing, right? It's like so painful. It's a lot. But specifically, I went to the dentist, and the eye story was her. So basically, she went to the eye doctor because she needed to go. And she broke down and told them, like, Liam's not coming back. Like, he's not coming in for his annual. And the staff literally almost had to close because they couldn't stop crying. And I was just astonished to hear that. But the reason why they said it is I have never met a young boy who is so attentive to eye contact and who asks you, not just like, hi, thanks for my appointment. He chatted with people, like, how's your day? Direct eye contact. He's maybe 10, he's maybe 8, he's maybe 13. But the secretary knew him and our family as the kind family, the family that they look forward to seeing our name on the chart. So while, from my perspective, I don't, maybe not even recognizing the staff, they're recognizing us. So when they heard Liam passed away, they were just shattered to pieces, which shows again how much Liam made an impact. But it was just another person who was shocked, of course. But more than that was, again, your impact on people. People won't remember what you say, especially when you pass away. They don't remember what you say, but they will remember how you made them feel.
Totally.
And how Liam made people feel is something that is undescribable, but just literally made you feel like the most important person in the world. Doesn't matter if you talk to you for 5 seconds or 10 minutes. I went to the dentist because I had to go to the dentist. And they were like, oh yeah, when's Liam coming in? Ugh, no one told you guys. Okay. Liam passed away. What? And then they start breaking down crying. And I was just standing there like, oh, like, what do I do? And they're like apologizing for crying and stuff. And it's like, it's interesting how people respond during grief, right? Like, I think I didn't cry at all, actually. Like, almost nothing. Like, even now I struggle because I don't cry, because if I start crying and open that door, like, oh my God, she's gonna be gone for 6 hours crying, like, because she hasn't cried for 6 months. And like, so it's not a good thing to hold emotions back. We're working through this. But at that time, like, they start crying and everything, and they're like, Liam was our favorite patient. Like, no offense, like, your family's our favorite patients. But Liam was like a special kind of angel kind of kid. And here I'm hearing from like the dentist, and I'm like, wow, like, it wasn't just my family, it wasn't just me who thought he was so great, to see the impact. And so, because I didn't share those stories, because you don't know what someone's going through, and you don't know what their story is, even just that day, right? Like my dad at Superstore. Just treat people with kindness, for goodness sakes, right? You don't know, so just be kind. So when I had to start walking Lucy outside, here I am, like, just miserable to go outside, because like I don't want to go for a walk. I'm literally doing it because she has to pee. And so that's difficult. So then I was like, okay, take the lessons you've learned, again, reflect and learn from the pain. Otherwise, what's the purpose of the pain, right? And so I'm learning from this pain. And I basically am saying to Lucy, I was like, well, if we're going to be out here, we are going to make it our mission to smile at every single person that passes us. That might sound ridiculous. Like, literally, like, hi, hi, hi. Like, I was not feeling it. But you smile, and this is like legit science. If you smile, you actually change your biochemistry and you
Right.
actually change your mood. So if you can literally fake a smile for 5 minutes, that smile will become genuine and your mood will lift.
Right.
So basically, from that, started smiling at everybody, and then that changed my mood. So it was like learning from Liam, taking the lessons of his impact. I think that was where I like where that mission came from, was seeing how much such a young kid, like 15 years old,
In such a short amount
when
of
you're
time.
15, you think you're really old.
Yeah.
But like, and even I did, but now I'm older and I go 15 is so young,
So
because
young.
really, like, you're maybe only like a teenager, 12, 13, 14, 15. So up until that is just like your childhood. But the fact that this kid had so much of an impact on literally every single person was just like I can't even put words to it.
Yeah.
So how can you then let that fade? Right? Like, how can you let that
Yeah.
fade? You can't. So that's where it's like the bigger mission. So I started creative image. I was saying I did the rocks and stuff. And so I started just taking pictures. It literally was just to make me feel closer to Liam. And then all of a sudden, these job opportunities started throwing my way, projects and this and that. And I was like, okay, I haven't gone to school for photography. I am in kinesiology. I'm like, what? You feel like I'm qualified? Okay, thanks. I found out actually from Liam's friends that he was known as the photographer, but he wouldn't let a single person take his picture because he felt he was so ugly. And again, the kid was so attractive. He truly thought he was the ugly duckling of our family, but he truly thought he was so ugly. He truly did.
Wow.
Like when he had his messy hair, I thought he looked great. He wouldn't leave the house because he literally was like, I look horrible. Like I gotta go sleep for an hour because I'm just done. Which again now opens up my eyes to mental health and being like, dude, you look fantastic. Of course I say that, but it's not what I'm saying, it's what he feels.
Yeah.
So how much you can say something until someone believes it, it's not their
Themselves.
story.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I see these things now, but during that time, so yeah, like all this stuff's going on and everything, and all these opportunities with business. And I thought, okay, if I say no, because I want to say no, right? Like the last thing I want to do is take on more stuff and you're already stressed. But if I say no, like things are flowing my way, like maybe it should be my sign to again that these are starting to develop K-ray. All of these make my picture, but at the time, none of this made sense because they were just all individual items, but now they tell a story. And so Creative Image launched, and it started literally called Capture It Kaylee. And I started an Instagram account, and it was just me sharing to myself because I had no memory of these photos. And I was just like literally pictures of snow, a tree. But I was like, this is just making me feel like I'm doing something with Liam, but also like documenting it too. Just like peaceful, like not negative, just like totally taking yourself out of what's happening in the world and just looking at nature. I don't even know. And so it just started as Capture Kaylee because Liam always said that I had ability to capture stuff. And so back to his friends and his story, he felt so like, I guess, unattractive in his photos. They told me that he said the only person who's allowed to take my photos is Kaylee, which I love taking photos with him, but I didn't realize that that was like a foundation in his core. Like, not just like I love my sister, but like she's the only one I trust to take pictures, even of my best friend's stuff. Like, I'll make you look good, I'll make you look good, I'll make you look good. But myself, I will only see my sister because I can be my real self with her. I can be ugly, beautiful, whatever, and I can still feel confident. And she's gonna tell me and make me feel good. So when I heard that, that even inspired me more about the photography. And then it made me even realize past photography, because like photography is its own thing. But my mission has always been helping people and like leading with impact. And so I was like, how is a photographer leading with impact? But then hearing that, I realized like I had an ability to get people to see the beauty in themselves.
Yeah, and your storytelling and that.
And also, like, my mom's a perfect example. She said so often, like, I'm so photogenic. I'm so unphotogenic. I hate photos. Like, we can't take photos. And actually, before Garbo passed away, Liam's dog, which was basically Liam's symbol before he passed. And with Garbo, I got these beautiful photos. And she was so like this is horrible, this is horrible. And then I sent her final copies, like a client, right? Like, no, just, okay, calm down. Let me edit, send them off. And her feedback was, I want to frame these. Like, I've never seen such like not only like do I feel confident in this photo,
Mhm.
but you can see the love of me and Garbo in these photos. And then it's like, again, the storytelling within the photo, but it's a gift to be able to capture that. And I really led with that because of losing Liam. I loved all the moments we had, and we took so many photos as kids and so many photos, but we took less when he got older and I moved away because I was gone for so long. And those were his years that he grew up and most people know him as. But past that too was just like a video speaks 1,000 words because I can hear his voice. I can hear his laugh. I can hear the sounds. It also transforms me back into that moment as if I'm reliving. And that was like why creative image started. So it's capture it, Kaylee was like, capture it, Kaylee, before it's gone. And then all of a sudden these businesses started coming up. And then I was like, okay, whoa, like maybe we should actually brand ourselves as a business. Creative image got launched in Liam's name. And then more stuff happened. So when I looked at all my puzzle pieces and I was like, how am I going to organize all these different things? Because at this point, who has so many different businesses and does so many different things that are so unrelated?
Different niches.
Like they're not even within the same field. Like what? So it was just kind of like, this is it. And this is the studio space. And it's kind of awesome that Liam's story is being launched in my studio because this is Liam's studio. I wouldn't be here today without him. But K-Ray and all the businesses are under K-Ray. So creative image, was aesthetics, Carry Designs, of course, LowKure. And as they continue to grow and expand, it's gonna continue to grow and expand. But it's all under Liam's name. So it's like my thing is, yes, I'm doing it for myself, but I live for two people now. I live for myself and I live for Liam. So his dreams don't die with him. Like I'm gonna go live, not that I'm a boat girl, but I will go live on a sailboat because apparently that's really, really important to go live on a sailboat. It's apparently really actually horrible. You can't shower and you can't go in the ocean because it's salty. So like you can't shower. You have no fresh water in a sailboat. So I've heard these stories of like, you think it's nice, but but you're like, yeah. So he was like, I don't need rent. I can boat, I can travel, I can do it all. So like, stay tuned for that. But like all these different things and like, so it's not that I'm like trying to engulf him. Does that sound weird? It's not that I'm trying to like take over his life. It's that I'm trying to take aspects of him and make them a part of my life so that his legacy is in everything I do. So yes, I'm Kaylee and yes, I'm Kay and yes, I'm doing this stuff, but I'm doing it with my brother. And so then we get into the story of LoCure. And basically, when Liam passed, again, impact was huge and everybody was impacted, but it really hit his volleyball team because he was on a volleyball team at the time. And his coach is actually still one of our good family friends, Jeff. I just shout out to Jeff for real because that man, though he didn't know it, was my inspiration for LoCure.
Really?
Yeah, and so it's LoCure's got like a timeline. It's quite beautiful because as we grow, that story is literally in every aspect. And of course, I document it and I share it. You can see how we've developed and how we've grown. So basically, Jeff came up with this idea. He saw the 15-year-olds hurting. How are you supposed to actually understand what's going on? Like as an adult, I can't even. As a youth who was a friend, who was a peer, how are you supposed to? And also like, what does that mean for your future and what you're gonna think about life? So his thing was we need to do something for Liam to like respect, to honor him and his memory. And so what his idea was doing a warm-up shirt. So the team came together and they designed its own logo, which no one's actually seen. I should have brought it out for this podcast. We'll have to like put a photo or something on this video, but basically they designed a 6. So Liam's number was 6. His birthday's April 6th. It was his lucky number. So 6, but he was also the libero. So position 6 on the court. So it's kind of like 6 meant multiple things. They made the 6 out of an L and an N. So it literally was his number and his name. And they made the shirts and they wore that all season. I was calling with Jeff because I wanted to confirm some details before I shared, but we didn't have a chance to touch base. So I'm literally going to share it. Maybe I'll have to adjust the details later. But from my memory, they also had that position completely open. They didn't put a player in his pot. And so the whole, like whether or not they won or lost, everybody on the court was saying, I got 6. So if a ball came and it's obviously outside your reach, I got 6. And it was this whole thing of like, Liam's not being replaced, Liam's not being forgotten, he's being honored, and everything that we do is for 6. And so when that happened, of course, like our family was like, it meant so much. And then they even like went out and they got his jerseys put into a beautiful frame. It's at my mom's house and it's like Kaylee Nishizawa, number 6, both jerseys. So it was like, the team was seriously like unreal for the support it gave our family because yeah, it was a lot. I'm grateful for them. But from that shirt, a lot of people saw them and they were inspired. They were like, how can I get one? That's so like, I want that. I need that. And so my mom did ask, and it was like made for the team. It wasn't made to pit. It was their volleyball way of giving Liam respectful time and a place and a, his space to like be honored. So from that, I saw the message, and I even our own like family, like our cousins and stuff, I wanted them to have one, but they couldn't. And so that's where LoCure's idea came from. And I say LoCure, but really it wasn't LoCure, it was Kaylee's idea. It was a sister at his funeral. I promised that I was going to keep his legacy and his memory alive. And so typically what that means is I do a video, and it's like, all again, let's forget about how he passed. Let's remember the man he was and the laughter, like the kid had the funniest laugh. It was like this, I don't even know, like a duck laugh. Like, I don't even know, right? If anyone knows, you laugh because he's laughing, simply because of his laugh. And then now he's laughing because you're laughing. So then you're laughing for 10 minutes. And at this point we're crying, right? And then you walk and you go, wow, I love that kid. Right? And so it's just like, it's so great. But because of that, and the team and stuff, I just really I wanted to make a clothing piece that I could honor him, give that to the community that wasn't getting that special piece of clothing, and then past that, then also be able to have like the proceeds go towards a memorial site for him. Because at the time when we were doing his funeral, it was just like so much, to be honest. And like you have to decide like gravestones and da 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 da. And I don't know how other people feel. For me specifically, I didn't want necessarily a gravestone. I didn't want to like be reminded of the death, if that makes sense. I wanted a place where I would enjoy his memory, the happiness, not the sadness. Again, switching pain to light. And I just like, it's not that of course, gravestones are so amazing. And like, we actually have one for him in Japan. Under like, it's really cool, but every family tree has an entire spot in your graveyard. So like, we have a Nishizawa graveyard.
Wow.
So like, yeah, it's really cool. So like, it's like historic, like the history down to the samurai. You can see like your lineage. It's like miles long. It's pretty crazy. And then of course you can like make sub families if you want to make smaller one and stuff, but like that's where my dad wants to be buried because it's where his family's buried and everything. So he brought some of the ashes over there to Japan so that Liam could be there as well, and with the rest of our family. And so basically like it's not nothing against gravestones is my point. I like absolutely nothing, but I just wanted it to be an inspiring place. So I thought, okay, proceeds can go towards a memorial site. I was thinking we love Fish Creek Park. At the time, I was like, let's do a bench in Fish Creek Park. Things have changed. It's gonna not be Fish Creek Park. It's gonna be somewhere else in Calgary here. But I just wanted a place where you could go and enjoy nature with him. Or like you missed him, go get ice cream, go sit on his bench. Something that was just like an uplifting thing. Of course, it can be uplifting to go to a cemetery as well, but he loved to bring people happiness, and I thought him bringing people outside, and that could be it. So I said I was going to do this for his 19th birthday. Life happens, world happens, and here we are 12 days before his 19th birthday. And to put into context, I also just had 2 puppies myself, and when I went on vacation, I had given my puppies to somebody to look after them, and she had bred my puppies without my consent. And I didn't know, so literally my little girl Millie almost passed away through the experience. We almost lost some of the puppies. Literally the craziest time of my life. I kid you not. This is also April. I'm a full-time university student. This is also during exams. April 6th is Liam's birthday. And that's also during a really hard month. I'm like barely surviving, okay? ADHD hyperdrive. I'm functioning through chaos, right? We're great in crises. And on top of everything, I look at the calendar and I go, oh my God, I have to make Liam a birthday video because I do one every year. Wait, it's his 19th birthday. Shit. I like literally promised that I would do this. And like, who am I to not follow through that promise? I mean, who's gonna tap me on the back and say, you suck? No one. But it's like, there's only one time a year. Really, like, December is not an anniversary of celebration of life, right? It's like a very somber moment, just like quiet time. Christmas isn't very upbeat or anything, but his birthday is the day that we get to celebrate him being born and making the impact. So it's like a very different vibe. So like, if I'm gonna do this, it has to be the birthday. So I can't just say like, I'll do it for December. I'm like, it's either now or never. And also as people age, like as his friends are aging, it's not that he's forgotten, because he truly God isn't. But he's no longer at the forefront of people's memories, and that's literally my worst nightmare because you're forgetting him, basically. And so it was just like, yeah, it was just like all those things combined. And so here I am, it's 12 days literally before his birthday, and I have all this going on, and I go, okay, like time to power up. We are going to, I have never launched a clothing line. I have never launched fashion. I haven't even looked into this. I don't even know where to start, but like, okay, everyone starts somewhere. Let's just start nowhere and see where it goes. And so I just did tons of research, and I'm a perfectionist, okay? So like nothing's getting on my site with my name on it or my brother's name on it unless it's like perfect, great quality. And there's like so many different brands of different garments I could have used and clothing styles and stuff. But I thought I could make things cheap and affordable, but that could pill, it could tear, it could come off, like even like sublimation, it could come off. And I was just like, then Liam's memory's coming off. And I was like, oh my God. And then people think the clothing sucks, which is like Liam's memory sucks. And I was just like, this is just going bad quickly. I mean, maybe this is the overthinking. Maybe probably nobody would think that. But in my case, I was not gonna let anything take away from Liam's light and his message. So I found the highest quality of stuff. I got like cool stuff, not just stuff that I thought was like cool, but I thought that Liam would actually wear, but also like what would people his age want to wear, etc. And so I got it designed, I got it all sorted out, and I basically just came up with a very simple logo of the Roman numerals of the date he passed, which was December 18th, 2019. And then there's a suicide awareness symbol, it's the semicolon. It basically is a message that there's multiple meanings behind it, but I really love the one that comes where the fact that someone's story doesn't end with a period, it continues to go. And so it was a mental health symbol, of course, but it was also very specific to Liam. So I got the mock-ups done, like learning how to do all digital designing. I'm like, let's add it to my job criteria. We'll love YouTube. So I'm doing all this stuff. And I send off the final pieces to Liam's core friends. And I was just gonna ask them, like, can I take pictures of you wearing this? Would you want to buy one? Can I take pictures of you wearing it as well, even if you didn't want to buy one, to be able to like actually launch it and do this for his birthday? And everyone came back like, yes, 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 yes. And then Clarice, one of Liam's closest friends, came back and said, that is such a beautiful way to honor him. That was Liam's dream. Sorry, what? What dream? Should I know this dream? And so it was very obviously very at the end of it before he passed. And so she goes, I've lost my phone, like all my messages with him. I don't have anything. Do you have his phone? And of course I backed everything up. I won't lose a single thing related to Liam. So I go, yeah, I got his phone. So I'm like, do I have like your permission to go into your text messages? Like make sure like I'm not looking at anything you don't want me to see or something. And so I go in, and his last 3 weeks before his passing, he had designed all these mental health symbols. And so I'm like, okay, whoa, back up, like start fresh. What is this? And tell me the story. And so because Clarice was able to do this with Liam, she's the keeper of the vision. She's the keeper of the secret. She's the keeper of the messages. So she knows why Liam was designing the things that she was during that time. And of course, Liam also confided in Clarice because she has an amazing ear to listen and just like a lot of empathy and understanding. So of course, I'm not there and I'm in BC. I'm so glad that, he was able to have another person he was able to confide in when I couldn't. I could be there. And so she had all the messages, and so I pop them up, and of course I'm asking questions, and I scroll up and I see a drawing of a crane that like really stuck out. And I was like, what's this? And she goes, oh yeah, it's the Japanese crane for 1,000 cranes. Whoa, back up, back up, back up. Because like I said, I've already kind of shared a little bit of the story. So basically in the Japanese culture, back when World War II happened and we were hit with the bomb and radiation was everywhere, and a lot of people were suffering from cancer and the aftermaths of the bomb. And so because of that, there was this one girl who was a visionary and a kind soul, and she came up with this idea because the Japanese crane is said to live 1,000 years. Okay, so that's where the 1,000 comes from. And she said, if we can fold 1,000 origami paper cranes in 1 year, 1 calendar year, then you'd get a healing wish, a wish of recovery, a wish of something. And so basically she started and she went on and she started doing it, but then the action, like she passed away before she was able to fold 1,000 paper cranes, because that's a lot of paper cranes. And even to give more backing for my own family history, we're Japanese, of course. We literally love origami. Like And I have folded paper cranes my entire life. If you go to any restaurant with me, like I'm a fiddler, ADHD. But literally as I'm fiddling, I'm building with my napkins, I'm making the tiny paper cranes and the mom and the baby and like, to keep myself busy. So I've done this forever. But again, I was 8 when Aaron got sick. So I was not old, but I was much older than 3, 4, 5. And so I knew that my vision of what happened and I knew the story and I had my own experiences, but I never ever thought what was Liam's experience? Because I guess when you're growing up and also like even not growing up, like if you don't self-reflect, we talked about that at the beginning, you don't realize like how you're impacting other people. And so like I didn't think past myself that Liam would have his own version of that history, his own story within that story. So what happened was when Aaron got sick, because of that legend of Japan, and it's amazing, I love the message behind it. But when my brother got sick, I was actually in Japanese school. I was grade 1, he was grade 3. And the Japanese school came together and they folded 1,000 paper cranes throughout the whole school, which again shows collective unity and shows people coming together that you're not by yourself. It shows community support that you're not alone. Love that message. But also like the fact that there's so much like history in that and it comes. So they folded and they strung it in hundreds, like literally 100, 100, 100. And it was on almost like a dream catcher style. So we put it and hung it in Aaron's hospital bedroom or his hospital room by the window, and it stayed there. And so basically that hospital, like that whole situation, whatever you believe, we were going to church and other stuff at that time as well. But Aaron did get better.
Yeah.
And literally the doctors did not know what was going to happen. Like we didn't know if we were going to. All I just remember is mom and dad were crying a lot. Mom and dad did not want to tell us all what was going on. Liam was scared every single night, so we had a bunk bed we shared at our bedroom. So I would like go cuddle him and make sure he'd fall asleep. And like we'd like watch Scooby-Doo stuff and like I'd tell him stories and stuff. And then he'd fall asleep, scratch his back, and then I'd go up into my bed and I'd fall asleep. So I just like remember, like he's 3, 4, and I'm like 8, 9. I'm like, I'm the oldest in the family right now in the house. Because your parents would be, of course, at the hospital. Like they had a cot there. Like, if your son's about to pass away, of course. So my grandma came and she lived with us. So she was like our second mom. And then when she passed right after Aaron got better, of course, that was its own trauma in itself. But so the story of the cranes, it was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even put myself in his shoes. From a young kid's perspective, he didn't really see all the pain that I maybe saw. So his symbol, this crane, the messages, the origami cranes, was resilience. It was strength. It was like support.
Coming together.
Coming together. So he drew it. He literally like hand sketched out because like he was just trying to get, I guess, like he's artistic, but he's also a perfectionist. So he would have cried if I launched his crane that I did. He would have been like, that is the worst drawing, Kaylee. Like, why would you have done that? But it's legit him. So he took his like on FaceTime, like they were back and forth, and he literally is like me when he gets an idea, he full on throws himself in, right?
Yeah.
So she goes to sleep and she wakes up and Liam had all these drawings done and all these ideas. So he actually like hand drew with his pencil the crane, which is the identical crane people get now with LoCure. But because it's such an art, I've transferred that into embroidery again, so it doesn't ever peel off. It's like permanent and stitched in, quality, luxury, and just like the message of nothing but best for Liam, right?
And I feel like with the embroidery, it keeps those like sketch marks, right? Like
if you look at the website and you look at the crane specifically, I put it on there because I'm so impressed. You can literally see the feathers being drawn. And it's like, oh my goodness, the full piece, you would never know that there's like layers on top of layers to make that, but it's art within art. So it was like, I could have picked so many different other routes, but I chose embroidery because of quality, because of Liam's name and having that for Liam, but also because it was art. It was like putting a new version of art instead of just having a flat, 2D print. It's 3D, it holds its own story.
It does. And in the name.
Of course, yeah. So the crane is one logo, and it started off when I first launched it for his 19th birthday. It was, I kid you not, crazy. So let me tell you, so 12 days in a row before his birthday, I was like, let's go. 5 days took me to probably find the right, like look at all the YouTubes because I can't get all these garments in and try the qualities and stuff. At this point, I can, but I didn't even know any of this.
You also didn't have the time.
I didn't have the time. That's a very solid point. So I was like, I got to make decisions. So I'm watching YouTubes. I'm making sure all this stuff. Line it up. Set it off, I think, day 7. And then day 7 comes back with Clarice saying, oh my gosh, LoCure. So then I look at his phone and I see it and our visions totally separate stories. Like, didn't even know this kid made this.
Yeah.
3 years after his passing, I'm doing a totally different thing because of Jeff and the volleyball team, our love for fashion, what not to wear, loved our like creative insight. This would have been something I would have done with him, maybe like probably in the future. And all of that's my story, like my story. But then there's the LoCure beginning. And so it was like two stories collide in a beautiful coincidence. So the story, the original, the OG story of LoCure was Liam and Clarice were like Liam. So he would do anything again, make anything to make money. So he would iron out his shirts, make them look so good. After he was over that style, he would put them on Kijiji, outfit choice it, make it look brand spanking new, even though he's worn it probably for a year or two. And he would seriously, kid you not, make 20 bucks per shirt or something. I'm like, I think I bought you that shirt for 20 bucks and you're making the same amount of money? And he's like, how you
He's a
do it?
businessman.
Wait, I just have to add something in because in our like Snapchat, like I still have our Snapchat, like he's sent me pictures of his clothes,
For you to buy it from him?
asking if I wanted any clothes. I just had to add that in. I got
You still have the pictures?
Yeah.
I'm so curious what shirts. You'll
I'll
have to
show
show
you
me.
after, yeah.
You'll have to show me
That's
because I'm wondering
so
if I
good.
have them in my room. That's so funny. But he did. Yeah, he flipped profit. This kid was so smart.
Businessman.
Businessman. I mean, like, let you go get it, boy. But so he flipped those shirts, and so he's ironing out his shirts. You know, pretty boy doing his thing. Clarice is watching Netflix, and all of a sudden, I guess Liam's like, ah! She's like, what? Why are you gasping? And he goes, what if we started a clothing line? And she's like, what? What do you mean a clothing line? He's like, think about it. We could do a mental health clothing line. Kids like just like me, and you're doing something, the ideas start
Yeah.
flowing. And he's doing his clothes, and he's like, why am I making 20 bucks on someone else's brand? Why don't I make my own brand? So he goes, and that's where Loki started. So they started, they say, well, okay, fine. Claire's just like, fine, like, what do you want to do? And they're thinking of a business name, right? Because of course, when she texted me LoCure, I was like, that is such a weird name. Like, context,
Yeah.
please. And so she says, LoCure stands for low self-esteem and insecurities, the vulnerabilities we face, and cure representing the fact that there's resilience and strength in overcoming challenges, and sometimes those challenges are what mold and fold you to becoming the person you are. So it's not, and I, separate of Liam, but from my own perspective, I'm not grateful for everything that's happened in a good and bad way, like as the sense of like, I'm not grateful that people passed away in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not grateful for losing my ability to walk and the spinal injuries I've had because of it. I'm not, like all the different things. I'm not grateful for the pain, but every single thing in life can be a lesson
Yep.
or a blessing.
Yep.
We don't have to be grateful. But in order for us to continue moving forward, let's take the pain and let's learn something from it, because otherwise there is no message behind the pain. It literally is pain for what? No purpose, and it just is going to hurt everybody. So
Pain into purpose.
Pain into purpose. It's just like the surrounding theme again. It's like honestly, it's gonna be like K-Ray setting probably on the website now. Pain into purpose, honestly, like saying it now. But with that being said, so Liam, he basically wanted to showcase the vulnerabilities, which is kind of funny, but like not make it so obvious. So, because like with the Cure twist, and of course Cure would normally be like a C, but they're like K's way cooler. So like switch the K for like a cool twist. Literally, that's the story of LoCure.
Have you ever connected it to you?
With what?
Okay.
Okay.
No.
That's I like, oh my god, I'm telling you right now, I have full body chills.
You're gonna make me cry on camera.
I just got a like full body chill, like something came through right now. I don't know what that was.
I feel that.
I feel like something with like when you said add that K for the twist, I was like, K, that's you. You are K. That is crazy.
I haven't thought about that.
See, that's the thing, like I think with all these things, like you share these stories and everyone takes such different things out of them, you know, and
I mean, like maybe that's not even the case. I'm crying over nothing.
Yeah,
It was just simply because it was cool, and
when
he's
I'm
like,
telling you, I just got like
But-
full body chills right now.
yeah, I never thought about that. Oh my gosh, tears coming down. Okay.
I didn't mean to make you cry.
No,
at first, but
I
that's the
feel whatever you
first-
just felt. I feel it. I'm
That's the
good.
first thing I thought of was that.
Yeah, as we're like as we're talking about all the
Yeah.
business stuff. Yeah, I don't even know. Interesting.
I think too, when you were saying like your vision for, you know, making these shirts, and you were thinking like, okay, I'm gonna make something into this fashion piece,
Yeah.
and then his friend talking about how this was Liam's dream, and you always saying that if he was still here, you guys would have worked on something together. I think this is you guys working together. This was two visions.
It's really funny you say
coming
that because
together.
like so normally every anniversary is like pretty mellow. I don't know. I always never have an expectation because like honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna wake up saying let's go and go for a walk or like let no one talk to me. I'm gonna be a black hole today. Like I don't know. So I just don't put expectations on it. And so this past Christmas, I'll tell you that story next, but this past Christmas was the first time I've done something. Well, it wasn't the first time. So the first year, Liam's anniversary was like the slap in the face. Like I just ghosted myself off everything, just like disappeared. People were like, what happened to her? She was going somewhere, and then like, what happened to her? We're still here, coming back. But so that happened. The next year was like the same thing. I just needed to take some space. But then the third year of Liam's passing, my dad, so he moved back to Calgary and he's an architect. And he actually opened up his own business in Liam's name. So I've got my story and stuff, but he has his too. So he opened up Formtech Architecture. Coincidentally, on year 3, I believe it was, again, everyone in our family does their own thing, grieves separately and does their own, tribute and stuff. And so my dad and I ended up spending that time together. And he actually was opening up one of his very first, because it takes, once you design it, it takes about, the construction of building and stuff. It was probably about a 2-year turnaround. And it just so happened that the opening day, again, I was the videographer, photographer for him. So it's Liam's business and Liam's legacy coming out, but it's also my dad's architectural business, which wouldn't have even started without Liam and his inspiration. Liam was the one who inspired Dad. Again, it's funny that someone who's so young can inspire so many older people of all generations. But on that date, I guess I didn't realize, but then when I realized, that was like one of those moments you're like I just had, you just feel it. But I look at the camera or like the date and I go, Dad, did you realize it's Liam's anniversary today? Like, we're being so busy, I didn't realize. And we're opening up opening up your open house. It wasn't open house, but like the family was seeing it for the first time. The kids, they were gonna pick out the rooms. They wanted like the grand reveal, right? And so there we are on Liam's anniversary, opening up one of his first houses in Liam's legacy. So like a beautiful way to be there and have that tribute. So we have done something totally coincidental. But this past year was the first time I've actually worked on something or like done something that day, besides that one time, and it was working on LoCure. And I kid you not, I didn't cry. Like, not that crying is a bad thing, because here I am preaching on self-care, and like crying is a-okay. You can absolutely cry. But it like, because I just my emotions are so different and like so sporadic, it was just I wasn't, normally I would have just wanted to like have a mellow day, watch some Netflix, I don't necessarily like want to sit in my feels, but just like give myself the space to breathe and not have people coming over, making plans or something. Let's see how the day goes. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But that day I was like dancing and singing. I was like having a whole on party. It's kind of funny because we have all the pups here. So I would say we, but like, I don't know who we is, me and my alternate self, or like my ghost angel. I don't know. I would say we. But it literally, I don't know how else to explain it. It's like my brain is both of our brains. As if I'm building something, like, what would Liam say? It just comes to me. I'm like, yeah, that would be what he said. And then I do it. And I'm just like singing and dancing, and I'd be like, I don't even know. I didn't feel loss, which is so weird because that's the day of loss. I didn't feel loss this past December. And so basically, like, fast forwarding that story to this past December, but this LoCure thing. So she tells me what LoCure means, and she tells me how LoCure started. So basically, I mean, I've told you the story, but I'll tell you everyone else the story of when the iPhone first made the new update where you could finally edit and like write on your photos, because before you could do it on your like iPad, but it wasn't a phone feature yet, and even the iPad had glitched. The first Apple Pencil was just starting to be released, like there was a lot of transfer in tech at that time, so there's a lot of glitches. So like when you thought you were doing some sort like a circle, it wasn't showing up the way you wanted and whatnot. And so basically, as a just throwing it out there, Liam took his finger and he was like, what if we did like LoCure something like this? So it was legit his finger on his phone screen writing out LoCure. And again, it probably was not the one that he would have wanted released, because he would have said, it's not perfect, the O doesn't attach, the R is this, da da da. I kid you not, it looks like font. It looks like it was meant to be that way. And it's why it's so cool. Like, it's not even up here, we should have the name somewhere here, but it's like literally so cool. And he would like, it's his writing on his screen, so like from his finger to your heart, like legit. Literally. So that was where like the story of LoCure. So I'm like, okay, Here we go. Oh yeah, the cups. So there we go. I don't know how good that zoom focus
We can
is,
insert
but
the photo too.
yeah, but so basically with that, the LoCure font, I digitized it with one with one of my businesses, again in Liam's legacy, and then transferred them over. I had to search up like, okay, now we actually have more than just like a Roman numeral design. Like we have things
All
to
of these
create,
logos,
and I don't even
yeah.
know how to create lit. Like, what do I do? So I was like, okay, game time. We have 4 days at this point to not only just finish it, get the final products, get samples, do the photo shoot, do the website, then launch it for the birthday. Oh, and not to mention the birthday video, which normally takes about 2 or 3 days. And I love doing it because it's for Liam, but it's so emotionally exhausting. I don't look at photos of Liam throughout the year. Maybe because I'm like preparing my energy for this, but I literally can't. I'm not can't, I just don't. And then all of a sudden, for literally 72 hours, I just stare at his face and I go through every album and every memory in our childhood, and I have to choose which ones I want, which tell the story, or like what is even available, because maybe I don't have everything on hand right now. So I'm doing all this, and then I'm editing the photos, then I'm adding the photos into the video, then I'm putting the music associated with whatever I was feeling for that particular video. So it's like so many steps. I do it because of Liam's legacy, and I do it because it's actually interesting. I did first for the funeral, and the funeral was very sad. Okay, and we had slideshows. I did all the slideshows and stuff, and everyone said so beautiful. But the songs behind it were like Heaven Gained Another Angel, like We've Lost a Hero, like just like it was very like sad, and it was sad. I mean, goodness gracious, we're at a 15-year-old's funeral. There's nothing else but tragedy in this situation. But I don't want everyone leaving here crying, because Liam would be like so sad that his sadness has brought sadness to everyone else, because the reason he didn't tell anybody how he was doing is because he felt the weight of the pain, and it was so overwhelming and so much that he didn't want other people to have that responsibility. And I've been the girlfriend of someone who has been struggling, and I know the weight it holds. And I know the stress it has, because you think everything could be your last time you're checking in, and it's so much. And it's a blessing, and it's an honor for someone to trust you and like share those vulnerabilities with you, because like goodness gracious, that takes courage. Again, the word courage, seriously. And so yeah, it really does take courage and all that. So then, because we had all that, of course we're here to be sad. We're not here to be sad, but we're here to like mourn the loss of one of the best humans who should still be here today, but isn't. And so while that's important to do that, let's end on Liam's laughter and Liam's love and Liam's hilarious personality, his dance moves, his infectious, energy, everything. So I flipped it. I chose like the Avicii song Hey Brother, because like it's, Hey Brother. And then I put those videos together, and we played at the funeral. We played at Centennial Speech. It's just like the OG.
I remember this video, yeah.
And it literally like I think it's like 12,000 like views or something now, which I mean like that's a lot of people who are just watching Liam. That's like a lot of people for like Liam's story to hit, especially considering like, I was doing it for myself, my family and stuff. So I did that one, and then did his 16th birthday, and then did his 17th birthday, and 18th birthday came around. And there's a lot going on. I was going through breakups and stuff, and I was just like, I don't have the energy. But then again, this is when I put my face on it and go, he's not here. You're here every single day. Feel the feels tomorrow. Like one day you can muster up the energy and get this done for him or do something for him at all. Like, because there's one day, Kaylee, like give yourself the day tomorrow. But like that's the day to honor him. So that's why I did it. But coming around the time of his 18th birthday, and I was just like, honestly, it's exhausting to do those. And I don't, not in a bad way. It's just like, wow, it's a lot of emotion, a lot of memories, a lot of just like weight, and then just like brings you back into that feels, and you're just like sit there for a bit. And you're like, dang, I'm so glad everyone else is loving this, And again, I'd do anything for Liam and his memory. So like, I'm happy to take the hit, do the hit of the hard work so people can enjoy the memory. Happy to do that. But the 18th was coming around, and I thought, okay, I just don't have the energy. So I literally didn't post. I didn't make anything. And then I'm glad that I had a day's notice, but people literally started texting me the day before his birthday. Hey, do you need help making your video? Hey, can I send you more videos for your birthday video this year? And I went, oh, well, in a good way. This is not about me. It's not about me. And I was doing it for other people to start with, and maybe I, forgot about that and like let my feels take a hold of me. But then I'm having people message me about the birthday video. And I'm like, there's no birthday video. Then I'm like, oh my God, there needs to be a birthday video. So here I am. So like, if anybody looks at it, it's actually all the it's the cards that were at the funeral. Like we had all the pictures printed off. And so I just took pictures of those boards. And then I like put the backing ground and like the music stuff because I had what 12 hours to get this done after I was like, oh my God, I don't even have a song. I don't even have like what am I gonna do? From other people's perspective, they're like, wow, this is a great video. That's the story behind that video. It was chaos, but in that moment, again, pain into purpose. This is before even LoCure started, before even LoCure even was even heard of. That's when I started realizing I'm doing this and I'm the only one who's keeping that legacy and Liam alive.
Right.
If I stop because it's just too much for me, what happens to Liam? And like I'm sorry, that's just not an option. So I'm like, okay, get your shit together and you're going to go and you're going to go do it. Because this is not about you. Put your game face on, take the emotion out. You have 12 hours. Okay, focus, get it done, put it out, cry tomorrow. I did. I got it out there. But that moment I realized again, Liam's story is not just my family. Liam's story is not just me. There are people legit every year waiting for a video. Like, thank you for caring about my brother so much. But also, like, as a sister, it's a gift that I can be the one to like share more about Liam, you know? Because Liam is a different person for everyone and has many different personalities and like molded to whoever he was with. But as a sister and like being able to like share that relationship with him, I just want other people to know that as well and like how much he's loved and cared for. And so here I am, I'm like doing that. Fast forward the next 19th year, that's why I'm like, okay, I have to do this. So 4 days we get this all done. It was absolutely crazy. Get this or like get all the stitching done. I had them sent off. I can't remember where they were. They were out like they were across the seas. They were done at like I wasn't sure if it was Asia or I don't even know. I can't remember. But these hand drawings that I digitized that now are becoming embroideries across the world. Liam's legacy is being built around the world because we've all been born in different locations. I'm born in Japan. Liam was born in England. We are Canadian. So like we've traveled, and so it's like kind of keeping that in. It's like LoCure is being brought around. I got the embroideries done. It's hilarious because anybody who knows LoCure's story, we always have to joke that I have a Velociraptor hoodie. And I call it the Velociraptor because Liam's a dinosaur fanatic, okay? That's why I know the Velociraptors. You know I know my dinosaurs. But seriously, so the little Velociraptor, he drew the crane straight, and somehow in the process of whatever, it went this way. And so it literally looks like the crane is running, like a Velociraptor with big claws. Yeah. So I couldn't, what am I supposed to do? I don't have any days to fix this, right? I'm just like, I have to launch the products that I have done. So the first original marketing photo shoot's the one with the Velociraptor, and then it got switched to being the proper one. But so I had to get all those done out, picked out the shirts, picked out these things. So I did the Roman numeral dates to keep it original. Of course, that's like Liam's special piece because that's his date. It's also suicide awareness. So it means not just Liam, but like suicide awareness. But that was the Kaylee's version of becoming LoCure before LoCure became LoCure. And so there's that. There's the crane is another one. He also made like the origami boat. And so it's a really simple logo, but I love it because pretty much the origami, like again, our family, but an origami boat symbolizes their Japanese heritage. And I've added some stuff to the stories and made them like, again, to brand LoCure past Liam, to make it a LoCure for you, LoCure for the community, LoCure you, what's your LoCure is my slogan. You're the motto. What's your LoCure? Because you choose what LoCure you want to represent, what you want to wear based off the stories and the things that you've gone through. So yes, there's many different LoCures. Like, not when I say LoCures, it's LoCure. There's many different logos because every logo has a separate meaning, a separate story. Whatever your story is, you choose. And so the origami boat, now it wasn't launched back in 2023 when for his 19th birthday. It's actually launched 2025 January for his 5th year anniversary collection. But that little origami boat, it's a symbol of life's navigation. Essentially, you're the boat. Okay. All our experiences, whether good or bad, we fold, we transform, we flip, we turn, and it builds our story just like paper. We fold. And so again, symbolism, but also the Japanese heritage, and also the fact that you probably heard the analogy of like life is like the seas. It's you get through wavy times, you get through steady, calm waters. Well, the boat is very symbolic in that regard because again, the ocean, the water represents the journey. We have no clue what's going to happen. I love when people make plans because I used to be a planner. I'm going to have kids by 23 or 26. I'm going to be married by 24. I'm going to have my career set by 22. Like, I'm going to build for 2 years so that I have 2 years before I get married, before I do this. Plan it out.
Life says no.
Well, then look at how life has transferred
Yeah.
very, very quickly. So it's like, if you make plans, life will laugh at you. And then in a good way or bad way. You can be sad about it, or you could be happy about that. And so, like, embrace all these experiences as part of the journey. And so the journey is like you're on a trip. And again, Liam wanted to always go to on a boat to Australia. So, like, I don't think he ever made that particularly part of it. But for me, that's symbolic. Totally. So just very simple. And it's like a very good logo, which this year I've transferred into becoming one of our youth logos, because I think it's such a good message as you're growing up. Because I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not saying life is rainbows, butterflies, or horrible. It's, I don't know what your story is. And I hope your story, like, you're staying through it to see it through and to see how that story unfolds and how your story unfolds. But you are the boat. And life will transform you. And you can embrace it and learn. Either, again, you don't have to be grateful. And I think that's one thing that I've been brought up again and again, is even within Liam's community of people, like, people are like, I'm not grateful for Liam passing away. I'm not grateful for LoCure opening. I'm not grateful for that, because that meant Liam had to die in order for that to happen. So there's no gratitude for that. And I get that. I do. I totally do. But that's where I want to pivot and say, I'm not grateful either. I'm not grateful for losing my best friend, my role model, even though he's going to be my icon for life. But it's happened and I can't change that. And so the only thing I can do here is turn pain into purpose and look at the situation and say, this taught me what? Well, it taught me, I thought I was a good person before. It's definitely taught me to be even a better person. It's taught me self-awareness. Just the fact of, like I said, I was struggling through my own challenges and stuff, and people can relate with that. You're struggling and you're going through a hard time, and you kind of forget about your friends, you kind of forget about your other people in your life, and then you kind of reconvene after your life gets a little bit more stable. But then, like, what did those friends think when you went missing for a little time, right? So just the self-awareness aspect of just realizing even a smile can make or break someone's day, make or break someone's life. And I told you the story of, like, why I started smiling at people. So I've kept that going for, like, the last 5 years. And it's actually funny because people come up to me now. I don't think it's just like I smile in Costco. Like, we're driving our shopping cart, like, I want this. I'm just laughing at myself. And by the time I finish, because I got OCD, so I gotta go through every aisle. Like, just make sure we don't miss anything. Probably bad for the bill at the end of Costco. Like, you only go in with a shopping list, or you end up with the store.
$500.
Literally. So I'm like, so that's of course one thing. But as I go through the store, I just see people looking at me, and I'm like almost like creating, not a crowd, that sounds so arrogant, but I'm creating like a presence, and you
like
can
an aura.
I can just see people, and I look up because I'm like laughing as I look up, and you can see someone going like this, and then I match them, like, like a little more aggressive, and right there I'm like laughing at myself because I'm like, oh my god, that person was literally angry. And they just, like, looked at me and smiled. I'm like, I don't know what they were going through today, but I'm glad you're smiling. And so it was just like all of these different things, right? So yeah, basically that. So back to the symbols. The boat icon was a huge one that came out, as well as like Liam, which is like on the cup and stuff. It's on like all the different, I mean, we're wearing it actually right now too. But like every piece has, it's called the Artist Legacy logo. Because, I mean, it's the artist signature legacy. And it's pretty much a signature. So the story behind this logo particularly was I wanted his signature, and I wanted a recent signature, but like it was kind of hard to find. So I texted my mom and I said, please, can you, because again, when I'm designing this, I had 4 days when I found out about LoCure, and I was like, thankfully I've already got the garments and stuff set up, but like, oh my gosh, this is now a whole process, right? Like, I got to get things digitized or not embroidered exactly. And so I asked my mom, like, can you go find Liam's like handwriting and pretty handwriting? So she goes through his stuff, and just the one that stuck out is the easiest to find, and it's also hard to go through stuff. And like, my mom wasn't wanting to go through a lot of stuff, so she was just kind of like, let's grab a nice one and close this stuff up and put it back in its space. And so she sends me this one, and it actually came off of his grade 9 social studies test. And so he did really good on the test. He did really good, which is like perfect. Make sure he's also high achiever marked in his stuff. but it's like his daily signature. It wasn't anything special. It was his test. So it's literally how he writes his name.
Yeah.
Like he obviously has
That's
like beautiful,
beautiful.
beautiful writing.
Yeah.
Like I mean, the kid's an artist. Like
Yeah.
let's be real. So of course he has beautiful writing. But the boat was such a pivotal piece, and so that actually became a part of the signature because it was like the boat was one of those original LoCure
Yeah.
icon. Like when I say logo versus icon, icons were like small little black and white, very simplistic, minimalistic designs. The logos are like actually like the foundation. I think I have it right here too, but like this is the date logo with the suicide awareness symbol, the semicolon. But so basically I have all these different options, different designs, the boat, the name. So Liam's writing is pretty much on almost every single piece of LoCure. The newest ones coming out, they are going to be inside the tags of the shirt, but just not on the outside. And I literally did that simply because if people want to wear Liam, I want you to wear Liam. I really would love you to wear Liam. But for those who maybe say, I want that t-shirt, but I don't know Liam, and maybe they prefer just the logo. I don't know,
Yeah.
right? It's
wanna
coming
give
out. I want to
options.
give options. I want to expand LoCure past Liam because originally in 2023, when this all went down, everything was about Liam. So you're sure everything had Liam on it.
Right.
And over the last 2 years, with my story, with over my experiences, this last year I lost my ability to walk again. That was a really humbling experience, very humbling experience. You just don't take things for granted. Like even the fact like of doing laundry, I couldn't do laundry for almost 4 months.
Wow.
So like the fact that I
This
could,
past year?
yeah, this past year. So I literally was like, thank goodness I have a lot of underwear. Like I literally couldn't do laundry. So the fact that people complain about laundry and
Yeah.
I just to God wish I could do laundry because I need underwear and socks, literally. But I can't. So it just again humbles you down to the fact of these small little mundane things that people just like take for granted, being able to walk your dog, being able to do laundry, being able to like sit at the table, go to a restaurant. I used to love going to restaurants, but I couldn't go to a restaurant. Even now I'm like sitting, you can see I'm moving because of my back, and it's because of my back. But like at a restaurant, I couldn't even go out to dinner because or I looked like a robot because I have a back brace. Well, I got a SI belt, which goes around your like hip bones. Then I got a low back brace. Then I got my upper back brace that goes around like literally your rib cage and everything. So like I can maybe hide that underneath the clothes. Like I'm totally wearing everything now, you would know. But I also have like a seat cushion, the headrest. So who wants to go to Earl's for dinner and they bring in their seat cushion, their attachments, their back cushion, their neck cushion so that they can sit at the table? I'm sorry, I can't go to a restaurant this year. Like I can't. So like even the small things, like even those things are, when I'm struggling or stressed, I forget to eat. We talked about that. And one thing is that anybody else can relate, cooking, not happening.
Yeah.
Not
same.
happening. Like I am your go-to girl for that Sunday meal prep, and I have that mojo. My future self is being thanked by my future self. But literally, if I don't plan it and I don't have those meals ready, today I ain't gonna have lunch if I have nothing. So I have to prepare. So think about not being able to cook food. I just want a grilled cheese sandwich, for goodness sakes. I should be able to go upstairs and make a grilled cheese sandwich. First off, I can't even get upstairs. So take that out of fact. I can't even get to the bathroom. I couldn't even wash my hands unless someone held me up to wash my hands. I couldn't even lower myself to the toilet. So I was injured before when I got in the first phase of the car accident, but now that there's been 7 years since it, and my muscles, and I haven't played sports for 7 years, I feel the injuries. And that's what I was saying. Like, I feel the injuries. So you don't take things for granted. They humble you. I used to complain about walking my dog, and for goodness sakes, I'll never complain again because that's a luxury that you don't even think of it that way until it's gone. And it's sad that you don't realize what you have until it's gone. That sucks. And at that point, it's gone. So that's why even healthcare and stuff now, I'm like preaching to people like health is everything because I'm 25. Like I'm not even that old, and I've been in a car accident since I was 18. Was that when I was hit? Like fresh 18. Like that sucks. Like literally. So the fact that all this is like going on and 25, you should be able to travel the world. I'm thinking to myself, how am I gonna get healthcare if I travel? And so luckily, like in my past relationship, we're no longer together, but I had an amazing partner who was helping me through all that and helped me with being able to enjoy those things again and like find those love for things again, which was like, I truly am so grateful to him for that. Again, lessons, right? You learn things from so many people. So many people are part of your story to help build you up to becoming the best version of yourself. But like, it won't happen unless you view it that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, having those experiences to be able to enjoy that. And then we've separated, we've broken up, and that's been like, again, another humbling experience. But it's just shown me too, like having to look after myself, having to do things on my own. You know, you really do, you change your perspective on truly to God everything in life when you lose. So again, why do I have to wait for someone to lose their health before they appreciate it? Why can't I use my pain and share it, advocate for it, share it openly, so that other people can learn from me without having to go through it, right? Like you don't have to go through something in order to learn something.
Totally.
You can piggyback off people.
Yeah, and learn from
And
their
so that's like,
experiences.
again, chronic pain and injuries, like people, there's athletes who have played, like football players, hockey players, you name it, soccer players who have gone through like their whole life even playing professionally, and then they get an injury that takes them out to
Yeah.
retirement. And now they're having that same identity crisis that I was explaining, but just in a very different phase of life. Mine, like I said, my first quarter of life has been so eventful. I'm so excited to see what happens the next quarter. Like big good things, right? Big good things. We have enough big bad things, we'll switch it to good.
Totally.
But honestly, like those things, you put meaning to things. You put meaning to events in life. And ultimately, you hold the pen to your story. So what story are you going to write? Are you going to be writing a story of a victim and pain and things are suck and life's against you and this happened to me and why did I get this and why did I have all these events? Like, why did I have to lose my ability to walk? Why did I have to, lose my brother? Why did I have to? There's so many things I could ask why
And you
about.
can focus on those whys, or
I say, I can't change the past. And only focusing on the past causes more anxiety and causes depression because you're looking backwards, you're not looking forwards. Forwards is anxiety, backwards is depression. Present. Again, age definitely gives you context and experience. And so some of these lessons I wouldn't have been able to learn without experience.
Totally.
So again, I'm not grateful. But if I'm going to put meaning to these events in life, I'll pull not the positive, because there's not positive. How can I phrase this? I'm going to pull the meaning.
Yes, the purpose.
I'm going to pull the purpose in the message of the event.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not bad. I'm not grateful. I'm actually really upset about it. But focusing on what could have been, focusing on who you were in the past, focusing on what you should have done, woulda, coulda, shoulda, like you will go into a spiral that will never end, that will only lead to your own mental health downfall. Because guilt is poison. Shame is poison, and it will corrupt all your thoughts. And if you allow it to, it can corrupt your entire perspective on the world and how things function. And I mean, I'm not, for anyone who's struggling right now with that, I'm not saying that you can't change it, because I'm literally saying you can. And even with my own different like psych course and stuff, one of the best classes I have was actually positive psychology, and it's offered at UBC. But my professor was actually the writer of the manual for BC as like the whole. And I would literally, it's going to be on LowKure as well. So if you're loving this information, like literally check it out on the resources side. But it's a 13-week assignment guide. It gives you a little input. You're not reading a textbook. They pulled the important stuff out, try to make it, public information. So if you want more information, you will look into it, read the textbook. But you get a worksheet of what happens. Like, let's say, for instance, mindfulness would be week 1. It would be talking about exactly this. Are you looking at the past as mistakes? Are you looking at the future of like, oh my God, what am I going to do next year? Where's my business going? Where's school going? Am I going to graduate? Like, that's the future. Mindfulness is being present in the moment, making sure that when you see, and it's mindfulness also is about self-awareness. So when you see your thoughts turning, you're able to articulate that as a thought that you don't necessarily want to go down that route. You separate yourself. Your person is not that thought. So I can choose something else. And so on these assignments, it explains the meaning, but then it literally gives you your steps, your action plan for that week. And that's your week focus, because let's be real, if you overload a plate, it's too much and people just end up shutting down. So focus on that. Next week, we'll be talking about self-talk. It'll help you identify when you're criticizing yourself and what kind of comments you're making and what that means to your own health and your story. So it breaks each topic down and gives you those actionable steps. Holy moly. Why does everyone not have this?
Right.
Why does everybody not know this?
It should be like the guide.
Why am I paying almost $1,000 to get this knowledge that should be free? It is free. but nobody would talk about it unless you're in a positive psychology class.
Yeah.
So it really shows a lot of the whole, not the whole, because there's so much education out there and unbelievably good resources. But we don't know what's the best. We also don't know what's the most updated. We don't know what's the most reliable. We
Don't know where
don't
to
have,
find it.
you don't even maybe even know what it's called, so you don't even
Yeah.
know what to search up. And so while there is so much out there for people to seek out help, when you're struggling and you don't want to go seek out help, your first step is like kind of find answers within yourself. But when you search up, and I say this because the resource center on LoCure was established from my own story. When one of my ex-boyfriends was suicidal, he went missing. And I literally had to call a psychologist who had tracked him down. His last thing to me was that he was going to go take his life. And then he went missing. So I called the cops. I called his psychologist. I'm literally calling every single person I can possibly think of because we don't mess around with that, right? We don't mess around with lives. People can say whatever. I'm not, if you're telling me you're struggling, I hear you. I hear the cry and I'm coming. Not, oh, you're crying wolf or oh, it's undermined. I mean, if someone is making those comments and they feel like you feel like it's a cry for help,
Yeah.
like a wolf call, like nothing's happening from it, ask yourself what's going on in that person's mind. Let's not criticize them and say like, don't call me if it's not important. It should be like, this is my warning sign before it keeps escalating. So if it's a wolf cry right now, let's stop it at the wolf cry then. Let's help them before it gets to the next phase. So when that was happening with my ex, here I am on safari having a flippin' panic attack, okay? I have a missing, at that point he was my boyfriend. I have a missing boyfriend. Do I get the police involved? Because once you get the police involved, like, have I just made it worse for him now?
Right.
Because if he wasn't ready and then he gets taken to the hospital and stuff, like I always say, I'd rather you be alive and hate me than be dead. And I miss you. And I've kept your secrets. And that comes from experience.
Mhm.
I say that from my experience. I've had many now, unfortunately. I would rather you hate me, but you're alive to hate me. And that's even for anybody else as well. Like if you have a friend or you have a family member, you have someone in your circle and stuff, and you're like, they've confined me. And this is like the hard barrier between respecting privacy.
Yeah.
Because when someone's telling you a secret, they've chosen you. If you now lose their trust, that might have been the last person they would have trusted.
Yeah.
And the next step
Like
is
when do you step in and how and
you know what? Like even with the loss of Liam, I've said this to so many times, and I've said this to a lot of people. I have no blame for Liam because I was the friend of Liam. I was in that position of knowing how an ex was doing, knowing it's getting severe, knowing it's bad, not knowing if I should intervene and call the parents because they have specifically told me that I've only trusted you. If you share this information, I will go take my life. So now you're given a choice to listen to the request and hold this secret, but actually not know if they're going to be here tomorrow or the next day, next month, who knows. Or you not disrespect, but you overstep past the boundary and reach out for their social like support in their circle. But then now you also don't know how that family's going to respond because maybe they haven't been around it, or maybe their response would be shock or anger or upset. And like that's totally valid. Everyone's emotions valid, but that first reaction to the person suffering could be enough to turn them the other way.
yeah.
So then you're back again. Like, do I respect their trust? And maybe I see them tomorrow, maybe I don't, or do I defy their trust? And they hate me, but they're alive. What kind of question is that? Like, I mean, that's like a real like.
There's no right answer. Like it in what to
There's
because
no.
you're toying with so many.
Well, there is no right answer, but what I would say is I would rather them be alive and hate me.
No, what I mean when I say there's no right answer is to what extent do you navigate that and to where do you go and you know what I mean? Like,
It's true, and like I had to migrate that. I did, and I I obviously was able to find the balance between respecting both parties. That they're here today. That's in its own story. It's not my story to share. It's one of my experiences when I can speak specifically on my own experience, but I'm not here to share other people's details, but that was my conclusion, really. And so when knowing that, having my second encounter with a suicidal boyfriend, at that time I was like, okay, do we call the cops? The cops are going to arrest him. This is not good because he also told me he was going to go take some drugs. So I was like, well, then we've really put him into a jiff. Also, like, is he safe? That's why I'm calling therapist. Therapist is like, okay, if he doesn't answer the phone, we're calling the cops. I'm like, how am I supposed to not migrate this? At this point, I was 19. But like, imagine you're 15 and with Liam. Like, you don't even know you don't even know what's what. So like, it's just like, that's what I say. I have no anger. I have no resentment. I have like nothing but understanding. The situation is like, there's no words. There's no words, truthfully. And like, that's why I say other people have different experiences and other people have different thoughts over the situation, but I get it. Like, I get it on like such a different level. And not to like pat myself in the back at all, because like that's the last thing I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
It's more of just like I'm judgeless. I'm judgeless. I'm not judging anything or anybody or how anybody responds, because truly when something happens, you learn from that and then you can do better the next time. But you hope to God this will never be a next time.
Right.
So the first time you're experiencing is the first time. So how do you have any knowledge on how to navigate the situation? And so in this case, that's where the resource center came from, because here I am having to panic in charge of someone's life, and I'm on Safari looking up like what to do, who to call, how to intervene, and I'm just like, I'm doing all this while I'm on the phone, while I'm on this phone. And fast forward a couple years later and he passed away. And obviously his friends went through the same thing that I can definitely speak on, of being the one that's trusted. And that is such a gift, because it's not an expectation for someone to be able to like tell you how they're doing. You would hope that the people in your life that you're close to would tell you.
Yeah.
But let's be real. I don't tell people how I'm doing.
Right.
As much as I preach to the choir. I will tell you if it's severe bad, maybe, or I will just take myself in and recoup for 7 days, because for me, I have gained the tools and I still desperately am working on it every day, but I've gained some insight to be able to migrate. So I'm not saying go deal with this on your own. No, you need help, you need intervention. And then when they give you like these action plans, then of course, trust you within yourself, because you do know how to get yourself through this. But before you can trust in yourself, you need you need the answers, you need the questions. And more than that, you need an outside perspective, because again, macro and micro, right? And like micro, you're in it, you're feeling it. And like when you talk to a therapist, it just takes you out of your body, it takes you out of that and just says, hey, did you ever think about this?
Because they're literally providing that outside perspective.
And so that's why I say I preach that I love therapy, because it is meant to be your safe space. And I think this is also really important to highlight too, is again, at that Raptors event too, one of the speakers, she said she was diagnosed at 21 with being bipolar, ADHD. I think she had OCD too. And so basically like me at 21, finding out that my brain works differently. And I'm like, oh, I do work differently, not just like thinking it, like actually finding out that you do. And so she went and got help. And so the first time she went to go get help, okay, and this is an important story because a lot of people can relate, and I actually have my own version of this, which I can share, but I'll keep it to her story. But basically, she went to get help and said, like, this is what's going on. And the person looked at her and said, you're totally fine. And she like gave up on therapy, I guess. And like, in that sense, I can understand, 'cause same thing with ADHD. I went to my first psychologist and they go, you got businesses in university, you got grades in your 90s, you're multitasking. Yeah, you're doing good. No, I'm here today because something's wrong.
Yeah. But on like the societal standard, you were doing good.
Yes, but also like, I think it was just, it was brushed aside. Oh my God, now I'm gonna start coughing. It was brushed aside because I had been functioning so well.
Yeah.
So they're like, you've been functioning well, so you can continue doing it.
Yeah.
You don't need medication, you're good. Well, I wasn't asking for medication. I was asking for like understanding my diagnosis. I was asking for education to, when this is happening, actually how to do this, and when this is happening, how to do this. And of course, skills and behavioral cognitive changes and stuff. But she printed off a PDF and gave it to me, and then I walked out and I cried in my car, literally cried in my car. I was like, how have I gone to a therapist? And I left crying and feeling more bad about myself and having ADHD than I ever did walking into the clinic. And she basically was saying that you're so smart, you have such a high IQ. Clearly, you have such a high IQ that your IQ helps you overcompensate for what you're struggling with. How unvalidating.
I have not only
gone to my family doctor, but I got a referral to see
Mhm.
you. Now I have driven myself and scheduled you into my calendar to come see you for help. And that was the outcome. So like everyone's got a story, but in this case for the Raptors girl, she was sharing her story. Like she got her diagnosis, or before she got her diagnosis,
Mhm.
she went to a therapist and was saying, this was going through my mind, this was happening, da 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 da. Therapist says she's fine. And then she, like I said, she gave up. So she goes back to therapy and she ends up finding another person and she falls in love with her therapist. Okay. And this therapist is the reason why she's motivationally speaking. She's the same one who said the light, the end of the tunnel thing. So I love this speaker. I have to figure out what her name is because I wonder if she's done more. But basically, with that point was just like she highlighted, and I'll reiterate what she said, but also highlight for LoCure on this podcast too, is that if you're thinking something's off, honor yourself, period. Honor yourself, because
And trust yourself with that.
you know yourself better than
Yeah.
anybody. You're going to a provider who can tell you A, Y, and Z, you know, whatever that saying is, but they literally can, they're telling you how you feel, but they don't live in your body and they don't feel the emotions you feel.
Mhm.
They are getting all these outcomes from what you're saying to them, but what if they're not listening in this case? What if they're not hearing what you're saying? Like,
And they don't
apparently I'm
feel
so
what you're
smart that
feeling,
my
yeah.
ADHD doesn't impact me.
Yeah.
That might be the most bonkerous thing I've ever heard.
Mhm.
I'm too smart, so ADHD doesn't affect me.
Yeah, they're not in your brain. They're not feeling what you're feeling.
It's crazy. So like there are people, and we spoke about like how Liam went through his psychologist and stuff. Of course, like just like in anything in the field, there are the amazing spotlight ones and the ones who maybe shouldn't be doing what they do. If they do it for the money, they do it for whatever. And I think when you're in a position of power as a healthcare provider, you do it because you care. And if you're in it for the money, you're in it for anything else, like go away, because that's just like not the case. So in this situation with her and her saying like honor yourself, it was so interesting because that was during the time of my ADHD diagnosis. And it was like hitting me hard when I heard it because I was like, I hear you. I feel a little off, not in a bad way, but like I do notice that people go, wow, you're really interesting. I'm like, aren't you? Like, right? But like you were in your own skin, so you think everyone else is like you because you don't know anything else but it. So you just assume everyone has the same thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like narcissistic or what, but that was how I thought. Like everyone thought the same thoughts as me. But then I kept seeing people and they would like, I would maybe throw out some facts from a textbook and they'd look at me and they'd say like, how do you know that? Or they, you know, and you just start feeling as I kept getting older, because my first nonprofit was when I was 16. It was Save Trees, Use Trees, won a like Southern Alberta contest. And it was like pretty much saving our watershed, which supplies us with drinking water. And it's like pretty much going out, the fish are dying, the algae's growing crazy. So I came up with a solution to like change Calgary's system. So that was my first one. So like I've done all these different things and I've been high achieving since a young time. But while I'm high achieving, I struggle with the most basic tasks, like admin stuff, like the tax stuff, like the financials, like, you know, just the things that other people think so easily. And like to me, I'm like, I could start a business, I can start a nonprofit, but I cannot fill out a form. So like these are the things where I was thinking to myself, there's something off, not in a bad way, but just like I'm struggling with things that are so basic to other people, but like here I am pulling a 99 on a test I started studying for yesterday.
Right.
So like how can that correlate? It's not that I'm not attentive, it's not that I'm not smart. There's like a missing piece here.
There's
Like
something different.
there's something different. And so then I heard this and I was thinking, oh my gosh, girl, I feel you. Like nothing's wrong with me. I'm great. I'm doing good in life, but like something's off. And when she says honor yourself, trust the fact that you have your instincts. Trust the fact that you're out seeking help for a reason. So just because one person maybe says something that turned you away, or one person has said something that maybe didn't line up with what you were needing to hear, I understand. I was you. I get it. Because literally you go in the car, you cry yourself till you're home, being like, who would ever go get help then? Like if this is the outcome of getting help, why? I went back to my doctor and I said, I just want to let you know, I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus, but I just want you to know how horrible that experience went for me. I'm back in this office today simply because like you and I have been chatting and I know that we can set me up with a different person. But had that been my first encounter, like that can't happen. That can't happen. And so it was just interesting. And so it opened my eyes up again. Like just because you're in the industry doesn't mean you're good. Think about tattoo artists, right? If that's like permanent, you do your research, you make sure you're going to somebody that you trust, you do your background, right? Because this is permanent. So why wouldn't you do the same thing for your health?
Yeah, totally.
So if you're thinking something's different about you, whether it's like reading, whether it's writing, whether it's, communication, whether it's your way of thinking, honor yourself.
I love that. Yeah.
Because something's off. Listen to yourself. And if it comes back as nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. I mean, and then say wrong, take that word out. Not wrong.
Different.
Something's different. Something's just like, different. Then okay, I'm not saying keep going until you get the right answer and finally someone agrees with you, unless you're like, solid. I mean, go for it. Eh? If you trust yourself that much, then like you keep it out. There was a story that I had of actually one of the families that took one of my puppies, because they're therapy dogs. And so this crazy puppy story is a podcast in itself, for goodness sakes. But after that, every one of those puppies went to a family in need.
Oh, wow.
It was literally, so my mom got one of the puppies from that situation, and Garble passed away just a month later. So Sammy is the puppy that we all know today running around here. Sammy has been her angel. My dad has Miracle, and Miracle is called Miracle because she wasn't supposed to survive, and she did, and she is a miracle. And Miracle came in and he said, for his side of things, after losing Lucy, there's just like when you have an animal in the house, you just sense there's a vibration change. Like it's just like not empty. You feel something still there. And then you come into an empty house with no animal, nothing. It's ghostly.
Yeah.
It's it's ghostly. And so my dad was struggling with that because I'd moved out. I was living with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and he was by himself. Aaron had moved out and Liam was gone and our pup had passed. And so he was living in a vacant home. And he was still doing okay and stuff. But the fact that Miracle came in became, for not just for him, because she's like literally my baby, but she's become like an angel. She literally is an angel. Mom's black, dad's black. She wasn't supposed to survive. And then all of a sudden, this little black being who was supposed to not make it bursts up into this white pom-pom, and she's this white little angel. And like literally all the dogs are black. I mean, they're English Springer Spaniels mixed with a poodle. So they have white in it. But Miracle is just like this legit white pom-pom angel. So those two, one went to a blind autistic daughter of one of the moms I knew. So she was like a huge part. One actually went to another 16-year-old boy who was struggling with suicidal thoughts. And they were basically told that a dog could definitely help. And so they actually had gone out, and it was really sad, but they had found like a rescue, and they found out after having the pup for a month that he was allergic. And so then imagine you have just connected to a puppy.
Right.
You're literally lifeline at this point. The doctors have told you to get it, and then now you have to give the puppy away.
You're allergic.
Like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine, right? So that was their fears. Oh my God, what if he's allergic to this little pup? And so ends up being a miracle story, not miracle story, but like not allergic.
Perfect
and
match.
He has perfect match, temperament, everything. And she actually is called Lucy, and it's because she reminded me of Lucy, my Lucy. So when I say perfect match, like she really is. So she literally, her mission was to look after her boy.
Amazing.
There was another family who, it was for a widow. Her husband had just passed. So like every single dog went to a family needing a therapy dog.
Yeah.
It was a crazy situation. It was literally probably the most stressful thing of my entire life. Like imagine like you are now responsible, because I also had other pets as well. I had 9 dogs and 2 cats. So I had 11 animals in the house, all under my care, 2 children, plus exams, plus doing LoCure, plus all this, like, it was crazy. We're smiling through it now because we were here tonight, but like, it was so crazy. But all of those dogs ended up becoming like such purposeful pups. So it's literally like everybody has like every story, right? It's all a part of it. So basically all these events, right? Again, you can turn these events into whatever you name it. I could have said that this was like crazy and stuff, but it ended up becoming such a gift.
True.
If that's what you want to call it. So all these different things, all these different moments in time, it's been a crazy story. It has seriously been a crazy story. And so even down to back to the LoCure part and like pivot back to LoCure. So I think I mentioned that we have the origami crane, the boat, the river resilience was one too, actually. And this one was a special one. I think I actually have it right here, so I can literally pop it up. But the river resilience, it's like a very, very specific design. And this one was actually was molded from like multiple different logos Liam put together. Of course, there's LoCure. He originally designed the L the other way because he didn't want people to think it was an L for Liam. But the L is for Liam. And then the C is the sun for Clarice, meaning like shining warmth on the journey.
I love
We talked
that.
about the origami boat, and this
Uh-huh.
one is like actually has the river here,
Yeah.
and it's called the River of Tears. This was a different logo he made separately that we've added into this. And that's why we call it the River of Tears, because truthfully, this was the logo that Liam would represent the struggle of depression. Like we can say all day long that have hope and get better, it's gonna get better and stuff. But when you're going through it, like that is the last thing that you feel. And it's also the last thing you want to hear because like, I'm sorry, but I'm not feeling that. And like I just feel guilty now for not feeling that. So this logo specifically is very, very, it symbolizes the resilience, of course. You're on the Stormy Waters, right? We talked about the logo of the boat, and this is the Stormy Waters. This is it. So you obviously have the sun, the warmth of people in your life being there, and L for Liam, because obviously Liam is a symbol of everything here. But this symbol is really, really highlighting the resilience it takes, again, river resilience, to get through the struggle. Because when you're going through the waters, my goodness, like it literally feels like your boat's about to crash,
Yeah.
right? And so it's a beautiful one, but it's also like multiple different versions of the story. This would be like it's a story in itself.
Yeah, it kind of brings everything.
Yeah, it's a story, and
together.
it's one of our favorite logos featured for so back to Liam and Garbo. Garbo was Liam's dog. It was our family dog. But Liam and Garbo had like this unbelievable bond. Actually, Liam wanted to become a vet. That was his dream. Loved animals. I said we watched Animal Planet and What Not to Wear, two things. So Garbo, when my parents split, Garbo became Liam's lifeline. And with everything, Garbo was there when I moved out and I was gone and stuff. And so Garbo was always just like his best friend. The kid would wake up and go lie inside the kennel for 30 minutes with her, like in her bed. And then he would get ready for school. He would literally come home at lunch specifically to go see her. He would, like, everything was Garbo. And everything was Garbo. And so Garbo lived on past Liam for 3 years. And it was beautiful that she was able to become part of LoCure. I knew it was gonna hold meaning, but I'm so like this is one of those moments you like thank your past self for your brain at that time. I knew Garbo. So Garbo, she had a neurological disease. Basically, it was the dog version of ALS. And so she was losing from her tail down to her front side, functioning of everything. So it starts with the tail, then she loses her back legs, keeps going. But before they actually end up losing their front legs, their organs shut down.
Wow.
So at that point, they start like they literally are like they stop breathing, they're vomiting blood. So as an owner, talking about putting a dog down is literally one of the hardest things because again, a different concept of grief. Now we're actually putting a dog down to prevent them from having like all of that pain and stuff. And so when Garb was going through all of her, her challenges, my mom did everything to keep her for as long as possible, but Garbo went away without feeling pain, which was like huge. So most people or most dogs that get diagnosed with this particular disease, they end up passing away within like, I think it was said 6 to 8 months. Garbo lived like, I think it was a year and a half, like quite a lot longer, simply because of my mom and like her dedication to making sure she was good. But basically though, it's before you even pass away from the disease, the paws are getting dragged, and so they die from infection.
Wow.
And so the infection and the wounds are actually what ends the pup's life. And when it gets so severe, they can't even walk, they can't even drag.
Yeah.
So my mom had put boots on and horse wrap on, and like literally every time, if you stop walking, she loses functionality within 24 hours. So like even though it was hard, she was walking, she was moving, and eventually she ended up getting into a wheelchair. And so it's really cute because she had puppy physio. And within that puppy physio, they had like a water treadmill and stuff for her to do exercises and everything. But they know the story of Liam. They know how much Garbo means to her family, and that literally Garbo was the last remaining symbol of Liam because Liam was like literally everything to her. And it was, I mean, I'm the type of girl who will watch a TV show or a movie with a dog, and I'm crying more that the dog has passed away than the person.
I'm the same.
I'm like
I
I'm crying. Like I'm sobbing. And in this case, it was a real life horror. But Garbo honestly was impacted by Liam's passing more than anybody. She didn't understand what happened to him. So she would sit at his room and just cry and cry. And eventually my mom had to move. And it was really, really sad. But Garbo, while she was struggling and while she was going through that, yeah, it was difficult for sure. but she had a wheelchair and she was thriving and my mom was looking after her so well. But when she was in the wheelchair, you can imagine she was like unable to hold in her poop. She would just like poop in the car or whatever, right? She can't feel anything. And so during this particular LoCure photo shoot, literally on the way there, she was not having a good day, good days and bad days. And so she had pooped all over the back seat and then she fell in it and it was all over her body. And my mom's like,
Oh,
I'm
no.
going home. Like I can't do this. It was a cold day too. And I'm like, Mom, I understand where you're coming from because like this is quite the mess. But I don't know if we're gonna have another shoot. I don't know what's the future holds. And I can tell you right now that we are not gonna regret the photos. We will not regret taking photos today, but we will regret if we don't take them.
Yeah.
So I know it sucks and I know it's like not necessarily ideal. Like we got wipes in the car. Like, let me help you. Let's get Garble looking cute and let's try get her be involved. And so I ended up taking some photos of her with one of Liam's best friends, Riley. And Jill. They were my first two original models that actually launched LoCure for the site and like originally for Liam's 19th. But in those photos, Garbo was able to be part of it. And so Riley was wearing the actual River of Resilience again, like this logo, which is not just like a logo, but it's very symbolic to Liam, like very, very symbolic to like even just depression in itself, right? But this shirt, I launched it and it's the River Resilient sweatshirt, okay? But then transfer back to 2025, this actually became branded as the Best Friend sweatshirt. It was a tribute so that Garbo could be on the website with Liam, so that both best friends were together and both have their own tribute pieces together. But then past Liam, we all have an animal that we love. And like I'm a dog person over a cat person for sure. I love both, but definitely doggo.
Yeah, me too.
And so with that, our dogs are everything. Like for goodness sakes, like they love you when you're having troubles loving yourself. They're there to pick you up when you can't pick yourself up or no one's there to help you. They're there to cuddle you, to fall asleep. They're there when you wake up. They're so excited when you come home. Like that, the best feeling.
Without even being able to speak to each other.
They speak,
It's just,
right?
Yeah.
So it shows the undeniable bond that a best friend provides. And so it's called the best friend sweatshirt for that. I don't know your story, but you have one. And so that's your symbol of your story with your dog, with your pup, your cat, maybe guinea pig, hamster, I don't know what you got, but hedgehog. There's some of the people got hedgehogs these days, but there's just like so many different things. So it just is a symbolic to, of course, the depression, the logo, but past that, like again, how our best friends get us through it. So it was really sweet to see how that has transferred. And truthfully, that's become the #1 seller since I not changed the name, but I added the additional piece to it. So it's been amazing. So the River Resilience, what other ones we got? Oh, the LoCure Tear Light. That was one of Liam's originals too. So it was, I don't think I have it on here, but it's basically a tear light with a halo around it. And the halo, it's kind of funny, but when he designed it, he put the halo in the middle and he was thinking of like just shapes and he thought it was cool. So I just like inched it up and it's a halo signifying like, of course, like an angel. It could be loss of a loved one, of course, but really that tear, it's called the tear light. I called it LoCure Original before because that was what from Clarice said, like one of Liam's favorite was the tear light. Okay. And so I was like, okay, perfect. Let's just call it the LoCure Original. But then now there's like legit LoCure Originals, just LoCure, right? So the tear light's its own logo.
Yeah.
So that's changed branding as well over the last 2 years. But the tear light signifies sadness, depression, vulnerabilities, insecurities. I mean, we've all had insecurities, whether it's, skin problems, hair problems, weight problems, eating problems, you name it, right? Anything. So it shows the struggle, but the halo represents that, again, turning the light from the darkness. It's not easy to do that. It's like truly, God, it's like so much easier said than done, like truly. But it's just a reminder that there is hope. Totally. You might not feel the hope, and that's I think the message, mainly the message behind LoCure is I hear you, and I see you, and I hear what you're going through. And obviously, this brand has been built on the fact that Liam's gone. So like, I hear you, but also turn that pain into purpose because the world is going to be so much better with you in it. And I know you don't feel that now, but that is the reality. And so if you can hold on, you can find the strength, not just to hold on, but to trust that you are here for a reason and that you might not feel like you maybe have a purpose right now, but you do, and you're here to make a difference in the world, whether how big or small, and I don't know, could be just making a difference within your own family. It could be making a nonprofit. It could be
Yeah.
doing anything. But the world is better with you in it, not without you. And so LoCure is a reminder, it's branded on the fact that we've lost Liam. It's branded on the fact that a sister loves her brother. But I'm one person who loved Liam. But there's a lot of people who love you. And so that is just a reminder. It's my message to you, but it's also like, this is LoCure for you. I don't know who your sister is. I don't know who your person is.
Your best friend, yeah.
But they need you. And so these are all reminders that though you don't feel the hope right now, there will be one day. You just have to stay here long enough to see it. And if you stick around, all of those painful things will turn into the purpose you are going to change the world with. I don't know what your purpose is, and that's like something that you got to find. But the opposite of depression is inspiration. Depression is lack of hope, lack of anything, lack of desire, lack of hope, really. Hope's gone at that point. So instead of hope, it's inspiration. You find meaning for life. You find wills to make meaning in life.
The courage.
The courage, yeah, the courage to keep going on. Because truthfully, again, back to the definition of courage, which I smacked down so quickly, is that you have the strength to keep going with the unknown. And truthfully, that is what mental health looks like. Because I think a lot of people have, again, this misconception that depression is like, even I've heard, like, I don't have depression anymore. Depression is a lack of chemical in your brain. Of course, we can work through it, but if you stop that self-care, it comes back. Not comes back, it's always there. The difference is today you made the decision to prioritize you. Tomorrow, if you don't, that's going to seep up on you.
Right.
And those doubts and those insecurities are going to come back at the forefront of your brain. So it's an active choice, and it's not always an easy choice. Sometimes that choice could be literally waking up and getting out of bed. It literally could be brushing your hair. It could be brushing your teeth. It could be washing your face. If that's what you need today, then that's all you need to do today. Don't put that down on yourself. Get yourself back to feeling whole. And part of that is like how you're talking to yourself, how you're respecting yourself. I think it's like so interesting because I'm one of those people who would do anything for everyone else, but would never do it for myself.
Right.
If I have to feed the dogs, I will go eat because simply I have to feed them. But if I had no dogs, I don't think I would actually remember to eat. Or like even last night, the dogs, I pulled an all-nighter because I had to get the studio space ready and stuff. And the dogs are looking at me like, Mom, please bring me to bed. Like, I'm so tired. It's morning. The sun's come up. And we went for like a 2-hour nap and they were just like kissing me, like, thank you for going to sleep. Seriously, like, thank you. But they wouldn't go without me, of course, best friends, you know. But so you wouldn't do it for yourself, but like literally I'm doing it for other people. So even the past couple of years, it's been tough and with a lot of loss. And even my ex, he lost his dad. And so the kids lost their grandfather. It was the first time they've ever experienced loss. And that was like a really, really, again, another humbling experience because I have been nothing but loss. But I saw them and I was like, man, I know what it felt like when I had my first loss at 10. My grandma, and the one who got me going through all the stuff that happened. So it's just like, you know, mental health is so different in every category. It's grief, it's depression, it's anxiety, it's personality disorders, it's addiction, it's, oh my goodness, you name it. There's so many different things, okay? So it's not one thing and it's not one size fits all. Everyone has their story, everyone has their thing, okay? And so LoCure back to LoCure and the tier light, whatever your story is, you need to own your story because when you're shying away from it, you're shying away from who you are. And if you're feeling like you don't know who you are, it's because you're not proud of who you are. And I'm not saying you need to be proud of the bad things that happened, but be proud of how you've molded from them.
Yeah, part of your story.
Be proud of how you've overcome the adversity and like be proud of you being here today. And that means be proud of yourself for waking up if you're having a bad day. Be proud of yourself for making yourself food if that's one of those things you can't do that week or one of those days. It's self-kindness, it's self-love, it's everything. And like even being in the kinesiology degree with my minor in psychology, and like at this point, I have done probably an entire degree of psych, not probably, like we're literally almost done an entire psych degree of courses because I'm just paying for extra courses. I don't want to graduate until I have more knowledge. It's funny because like at that point I could just get another degree. So like may as well, right? Probably gonna do that. But I just want more knowledge about the psych because when you understand how your brain works, do you know how empowering that is? It's like all of a sudden every possible thing, like even I'm sure people can relate with you snap, right? I think I brought that up as before. You can snap and like make an offside comment and you walk away and you kind of feel bad after, right? You're like, oh,
You regret it, yeah.
I do regret it. Again, own up, apologize. I promise it'll help your connections and your relationship for sure. But past that, it's like self-awareness, get in tune with yourself. If you're noticing, like even with my chronic pain, I didn't notice that there's a system. So when I'm having a flare up, now that I've had it for so many years,
Yeah.
even it wasn't about having it for so many years. Truthfully, it took me 4 years to get in the Calgary Chronic Pain Center. 4 years. So after I finally got in there in 4 years, it was great though. They have a team of people and they have a psychologist, a dietitian, they have a pharmacist, they have a neurologist, they have a kinesiologist, they have a physiotherapist, they have an occupational. You literally name it, there's everyone for you. And they create an action plan. So that's what we were doing. And truthfully, like I study kin, right? Like I understand what we're talking about and everything, but the part that I struggle with is the follow through or like the brain component, my self-talk, putting me down instead of celebrating the wins, instead of being like, oh my God, you got 90%. I'm like, why didn't we get 95?
Yeah.
Like I could have answered that one last question, right? And instead of being like celebrating my win, I'm like, what? Putting myself down into so then if you're not, and this is actually completely separate, but as a business coach, I always talk about this. It's what is the definition of motivation? It's self-recognition.
Yeah.
When you do something and you recognize it and you're proud of yourself, guess what?
That keeps you going.
You keep going. You find more fuel and you keep going forward. And so because of that, I mean, that's amazing in itself. But like, again, these messages, these are all part of LoCure, and that's like the whole story behind it. There's a story of like Liam as a 15-year-old designing this brand and back to like what it says on the website. It's got the whole story there, but Clarice and Liam they didn't have what they said, or what Clarice says for both of them is that they didn't have the skills or the knowledge or the business, or more than that, the energy or like the capacity to take on something else when they're already struggling. So it became one of those ideas that they just what ifs.
Yeah.
So the fact that 3 years later, completely coincidental, like literally LoCure was just like, the story of LoCure is truly like, it's a beautiful coincidence or a message or I don't, you name it. Again, LoCure for you, but that's the story, however you want to face it and everything. And it's come together. So I launched it for that birthday. And it's so hilarious because after all that went through and it was very successful, I got that website launched, the marketing, the modeling shoot, everything done for that birthday. I was supposed to be on an airplane on that day to go to Hawaii. So I stayed up all night and I literally at 3 o'clock in the morning, the taxis picks up, I think at 4:30 in the morning. And I am literally like, haven't packed yet, cool, like trying to get this website launched. I get to the airport, orders start coming through, and I realize that shipping wasn't set up. So now shipping is coming out of my profit margin, which means every hoodie, I put it in a price. Let me put this perspective, because some people like ask about the prices, and of course you have no problem paying a price when you understand what you're paying for. So they are obviously priced at, depending on the shirt. The shirts are, I think right now, $59, something around that. The hoodies are $122, sweatshirts $117, women's hoodies that we're wearing $112, I think, and that's including tax. So like that's literally the final price. But with that price, the garments that I've chosen, they go for much more than what I'm pricing them at for any other brand, for any other people, because the quality is the highest level hoodie out of any hoodie you could possibly get, or any quality you can possibly get. Again, perfection, OCD, you know, I'm doing the work for you. And so when you're paying for that price, I also want to make it accessible because I don't want it to be so expensive no one enjoys it. So it's a mixture of luxury brand meets the lowest price I can possibly offer it while still providing. And I think it's literally like $25 per hoodie is only going towards the actual profit margin. So you can tell how much goes into the actual cost of it.
Right, yeah.
The embroidery is not cheap. I could go a cheap route, but again, what do we want to stand for? And I think what we stand for is high quality, including resources, including customer care, including everything. So it's just the brand that we do. And so you're getting the highest quality for the lowest price I can possibly offer. So imagine now I'm at the store and now these shippings of like $20 shippings is coming out of the $25 profit range. So I'm making like $3 on each hoodie, you know? And I'm like at the airport about to board a plane and I'm like panic mode. I'm literally like at the airport in the lounge, looking at YouTube, fixing this, doing this. I go on the airplane. I'm like, I have no clue what I'm about to walk into when I get back into service. Come back in. Thankfully, shipping was organized and figured out. So my gosh, like literally, kid you not, every hour counted on that. But it got launched, and then I got to Hawaii and I saw all these orders coming through, and it was like the moment of fulfillment right there. Okay. And it was so impactful. It was so beautiful. And I was like, again, with the videos, with this stuff, it was like, of course I'm doing it for Liam, and of course I'm doing it for other people, for pain and purpose. And if I can share my story and be the light at someone else's tunnel, like I will. But it became so clear that it was so important. But then my health fell. I did all these shoots, all these LoCure launch shoots. I even designed all these new products that hadn't even hit the site yet. And then my health fell. And truthfully, at that point, I just didn't have the capacity to literally even look after myself. I'm fully not able to even function. And now I'm a full-time student too, like you can imagine. I can't even write an exam. I had to leave my exams because my legs were numb. Or like, but you can't do that. So like, what do you do in those cases? It was just, oh my God, crazy stories I could tell you, some crazy ones, but it is hard. So that was what I was struggling with. And then it cycled. Even though 7 years had passed from a car accident, we were back at year 1, but worse. Because at least when I got in the car accident, I was still, able to maybe struggle, but go out to the bar with my friends. Now I can't even walk to the bathroom and go pee. I have to have someone carry me. Talk about humbling. Also, like, probably my lowest I've ever felt in my entire life. Like, literally wasn't good. We're not thriving. We're getting through it today. Okay, like it's not a journey, and it's not linear, and it's not going to be. It's up and down, right? And stay tuned. It's a lifelong journey of Kay, right? But like seriously, so all of that put inside with my health and everything, all this stuff, all these shoots, all this energy just fell, and I just felt defeated. Truthfully, I just felt like I not failed Liam because it was launched. But I was, in a sense, letting him down because after all this work, and like it's obviously live and stuff, but I'm the business. As much as I say we on the website, as much as I say we have a team, I'm so grateful for anybody and everybody who has helped out. But the person who is doing X, Y, and Z behind the scenes, down to the photo shoots, down to the editing the shoots, down to the marketing, down to the website, down to the returns, down to the orders, down to the embroidery. I'm also the taxi service driving the stuff up to the stop. I'm also your shipping service. I'm driving it to the post office. Sometimes people pick the free drop off. I'm also driving it to your house. So like when you can't walk, how's that going to happen? Right? Like people were like, oh, well, I'm putting an order through and stuff. I'm the orders. And I'm not saying that again. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just giving it like a realistic expectation. And so I could do it. So I was struggling all over summer, and I went through a really brutal breakup with my ex and his family because of what was going on and what was going on with my health. And again, at that point, I was learning a lot about myself too, and it's grown me into the person I am even this month. But it wasn't fun. This space, as much as I love it, and like look how good this space looks, and you haven't even seen the rest of it, it is amazing. But this space is what crippled me down. And it's been in this works to launch it for years. So imagine everything's on pause. Think of, and this is where I talk about my specific mental health journey too, is what happens. Well, not what happens. I'm a person who finds myself getting busy very easily, but I busy myself to avoid, obviously, discomfort and emotions. I've used all of my pain into purpose, great, but I haven't felt the sad feels because all I'm doing is trying to keep the survival mode going forward, trying to still grieve while still holding true to the value of being an inspiration and being a role model. I'm not saying that I'm a good role model at all times and things. That's why I went offline and I stopped posting and stuff. Because at that time, truthfully, I was like struggling a lot with like, how can I advocate for people when I am struggling this bad myself? And like, I would be honest on camera, like I can be honest now, but like at that time, like honest to God, I couldn't even say something without crying. And I realized over this last year, I busied myself with work, with the mission of making Liam's name and making purpose, and then everything fell. And what happens when you're stuck in bed and you can't move? You can't do anything. So you're stuck in your feels, all the years of feels that you haven't actually felt.
Right. It's just all.
And you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You can't even go for a walk.
No control. I
couldn't even go outside this summer because I physically couldn't walk outside. But when I get outside, what am I going to do? I can't stand and I can't sit on the deck. I have to have like a full-on like body brace chair. I didn't even go out in the sun. I don't think I've ever been so pale in my life. I was like, I think we've hit a different skin color at this point. Like, are we still Asian? I don't know. So like literally it was rough, it was tough, and but that's when all of like the first year I explained of like the grief and that superhero stuff, and like then the feels hit, and I thought that second year was bad and third year was bad. Honestly, it was freaking great in comparison to year 5. And in the midst of all this, I feel so defeated, and honestly, I felt like I said, like I let Liam down. And then I was struggling to like reopen LoCure because like who's excited, and my energy's down, and I'm a person who people come to for my energy. So like they come to me because they need refueling. But if Kaylee's empty,
Already, yeah.
who's refueling Kaylee? The dogs. Like, but literally who's refueling me? So I'm not necessarily maybe the most great person to be around. And it was the first time actually ever that I've heard that. And it was like tough to hear, but it came from a place of love from people that loved me, not hated me. But they were just like, honestly, it's really draining to chat because like I know you're struggling and I had a really good day, and I don't want to tell you about the good day because I'm not trying to tell you like your day was sucks. I hear about here's my good day.
Yeah.
So then you end up detaching from your friends. This is the social the isolation, right? So it was like it's been hard. I've lost a lot of friends, gained a lot of friends, lost a lot of people that maybe I shouldn't have had in my life to begin with.
So where is LoCure today after this whole journey that you've been on?
So LoCure today, basically from 2023, the original launch for Liam's 19. It was Liam's business. Or well, it's still Liam's business, but it was Liam. Okay. All funds, all money was basically dedicated to putting together a memorial site here in Calgary for his friends. And as I thought, as we expand and we go further, I was thinking, how can I make LoCure now past Liam and his mission not inspire, that's the wrong word, his mission impact.
Yeah.
Like mental health is messy, guys. Like it truly to gosh is. And so LoCure is a representation of that as a whole, no matter what, like I said, what your story is. And so looking at that and seeing the gap, I realized that I spoke about how resources aren't necessarily easy to find. So I thought using my experiences, also like how can I help and make a difference? The thought that I came up with was adding that resources page. But the resource section, it was basically put together for exactly that. If parents have questions, if kids have questions, why am I paying hundreds and thousands of dollars for education to get these free resources? Or why do I have to wait 4 years to get into a clinic to find these resources? First thing that they do is they provide you with a PDF, and all you want, all the resources are all over the place. So why do you have to get into the clinics before you get that? So all of my health transformation and journey, I've been asking my providers, kind of keeping like a toolbox. Can you please send me any resources? Could be sleep tips, could be tricks on behavioral techniques, on therapy, depression, I don't even know. You name it. Could be Calgary resources. There was even like one of my, I was working with a social worker too. She gave me a bunch of resources for Calgary in the sense of affordable, healthy food. That's like a huge thing, and food is expensive, and it's only getting more expensive. There are actual programs within Calgary. I mean, I wish I could share that with everyone else. I mean, I'm sure I will be putting more resources on the site, but currently right now, you can actually find those resources to find fresh, like farm fresh fruit and veggies at affordable prices outside of those grocery stores.
Right.
And they're like bought local. And it's like locals giving back to locals, but providing it at like a price that can actually help people. So there's these different things. Like, again, how are these available? No one knows. There was, I think it was 2023, right after, actually it was before LoCure was launched, I think. I was asked to speak at State University as a guest speaker for a mental health event, but the fundraiser was for the Lion Heart Foundation. Have you heard of that?
No.
So it's a Calgary specific resource right now. But again, how do people not know about this? It's when you're struggling, and it's more so based with anxiety-based therapy, okay? People who are struggling with anxiety, this is your go-to. If you live in Calgary, don't think twice, go look at it. But this is amazing because when you actually look for a psychologist, you don't know their qualifications necessarily, right? You don't know who you're going to see. And the prices range, and it's not cheap. And some people have health coverage and some people don't.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to pay out of pocket, or it's even hard to get more than 5 sessions with insurance. And so what the Lion Heart Foundation has done is they have partnered up with different psychologists around the city, not any psychologists, the highest, most qualified psychologists, specialized in anxiety-based therapy and anxiety-based treatment. And so they not only provide highest level, but they partner up with so many different sponsors. RBC is a great one because everybody knows RBC Bank. And they pay to give money to Lionheart Foundation, and you can donate as well at any time. But what it does is it provides subsidy funding for these appointments. So depending on your income, depending on your situation, student life, whatever, I believe it's ages 8 to 33, something really wide range, like even young adults. Maybe you can't pay the $200, but you can pay 50. So then all those sponsors will pay the remaining. You're paying the 50 based off your income, based off your job, based off what you're able to afford. They set you up with it. It is so unused that if you call today, you could get an appointment tomorrow.
Wow.
That was what I heard last. I mean, maybe it's different since I spoke at SAIT, but when I heard that, it just made me want to cry. Like if I knew that, I would have sent Liam to Lionheart Foundation. Not because of the funding, but because they are the most qualified people to be helping. When someone is in make or break phase, who you see absolutely does matter. And so to know that you're going to someone amazing, and these psychologists around the city, they actually have their own practice or they're within AHS, however they're operating, but they volunteer to be the Lionheart Foundation and like have that symbol on their like, I guess, website or something. So it's only psychologists who want to do the extra mile, who are literally driven by purpose to help. So that's like already, again, like you're literally getting to people who care about you, not just care about the dollar in the pocket. Huge. So that's on the website. There's all these different things. So I basically allocated an entire section to the website, new from the original launch, to provide that gap. Not saying that the information out there is bad or anything, but I've added a lot of school resources, like literally from my different, like there's an entire section on adolescent development, and that was for my psych course. And again, why am I going through 4 months of studying this when they give all these accessible resources to parents? And my prof on Zoom, as she's saying, she says, when my parents ask, like my teens just starting like preteen years, I have questions, they have questions, like, what do you have? She put them all on our like on our site and said, like, this is what I would suggest, like read it up in them. Okay, thank you for that. I took it and I put it on the website. Because like, again, this is amazing. There was also one of my last classes too. This one was child development. They had all these YouTube videos and you don't know what's good and what's not good. So like, that's why it's helpful to have someone tell you. But they have 2 particular academies that are free psychology courses.
Wow.
And so they were teaching us to use those for like 5-minute quick sessions on like parenting styles, on how to like help with your child's attachment style, which means like how they would behave in situations. Are they anxious? Are they avoidant? You name it. So all these different things that honestly you wouldn't know until you know. Back to the point, education is power. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. Once you know better, you can do better. But without that, you don't know. Exactly. So that's all on the website. So it's like a mixture of, I guess, website stuff that I put together from my own university courses that I can actually like put up on the site without getting in trouble. On top of asking actual healthcare providers, and it's just expanding, my goodness. And it will only continue to expand because I put what I could right now on while I'm managing everything else. But when I have like a couple weeks to sit down, like you betcha it's gonna get it's gonna get great. And it's gonna be, I was looking through, I've had a lot of people, like I said, email me different resources. So actually before, to just prepare for today, I was like, I should probably look, not just like I did the resources, I did them, but I haven't clicked and looked at every resource. And I clicked in and I was like, oh my God, there was even one resource specifically. Funny that I put this on the page and I didn't know. It defines every possible mental health disorder, every possible mental health thing and what it means, how it impacts somebody. So if you're just freshly diagnosed or looking for a diagnosis, or you're a parent of someone, it's going to break it down for you. And so like, again, like you can look up on Safari and stuff, but sometimes the knowledge is like really education based and like the words are going off your head.
Sometimes you don't even know what to search though.
Also, you don't even know, like, it's complex. So this is like such a great space. So that's one of the pivots of LoCure for 2025. And the other huge one was, I said that I was injured for the last year. And so that kind of paused things. And I was going to restart up for the 2025 year. But actually, it was my mom what sparked LoCure, and I'll put this in the story too, but what sparked LoCure's reigniting its spark was actually my mom was in Superstore and ran into one of our family friends, one of Liam's best friends' families growing up. And immediately the moms meet each other and start crying, right? Because they both love Liam to pieces. And they're chatting. And ironically, she went to go pick up, Superstore has these like when produce is like on the edge of getting bad, they make like separate small like $20 bags or something. News to me, maybe news to you. But so she was there and she doesn't like grapefruits. No one in the family likes grapefruits. So the reason why she found my mom is actually she was just like, does anybody want a free grapefruit? Ironically, again, if you want to say like symbols of Liam's favorite fruit is grapefruits. His favorite fruit, like literally our family just like obsessed with grapefruits. But like Liam's favorite thing would be pomegranates or grapefruits. Always, 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 always. And so because of that, here's Britta, like, anybody want a free grapefruit? And she just happens to run into my mom. They haven't seen each other for years. And it's the grapefruit, Liam's favorite fruit. Did anyone want a grapefruit? She goes, well, like the girls actually, I'm so glad I saw you. The girls have been asking for a LoCure piece for the last 2 years because we missed the, like when the launch and stuff and it got busy. How do we get LoCure now? And she says, well, Kaylee's struggling with health and stuff and it's kind of shut down, but she has some samples in like that she got done before everything happened. Maybe you can see if you can buy one of those off of her because things aren't being made right now. And so she gave my number. So I actually had my last final exam and it's right before Liam's anniversary. And this past December was his 5th anniversary. And it's kind of like one of those things, it's a big deal. 5, 10, I guess 1, I don't know what else, 15. So with that, obviously it was like it was an impactful year. Not even talking about what I went through, but like it was a year. And so mom didn't even tell me about that actually. I finished my final exam and I'm like, oh my God, like, thank you. I'm literally barely surviving here. And I finished my exam, I think it was 10:30. So like it's a late night. And I open it up and the first message on my phone is Britta. Hi, Kaylee, how are you? Because I used to babysit for the family. Liam's best friend was Lenya growing up, and she had a younger sister, Yana, and so the two of them, like they always did stuff together with Liam. So the two girls, like of course that's a Liam moment too, because they're like really foundational people like of Liam's childhood. And here they are wanting LoCure. And I was thinking once again, the same thing reoccurring. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's so past me. It means something so much greater to everyone else. Of course it means something to me. But it's like everyone's got a story and LoCure has become their story. Yeah. And so here they are, like people are like wanting it. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Like if people are wanting it, like who am I to not do it, A? But I was like, is this my sign again? Liam's anniversary is coming up, the grapefruit, Britta and the family, and asking about LoCure coincidentally, and I was like, it is 5 days until the 5th anniversary. Can I relaunch the site in 5 days? We've done it in the past. The answer is no. No, we can't. So I worked on it since December 12th. Today, in context, whenever you're actually watching this, it's what, February 22nd, 2025. This was December 12th, 2024. So it's been like 2 months. I haven't slept for 2 months. More than what we're February, so yeah, 2.5 months almost. Haven't slept because I have literally grinded LoCure between like school and exam stuff. Also doing my practicum and working with cerebral palsy kids. But all this different stuff. On top of that, I was like, okay, we were not planning on doing this, but all the things are lining up here. So I rushed to get the site relaunched for the 18th. And that was when I came and I said that I was working on the site for the first year ever, doing something for Liam during that anniversary. And I just didn't, maybe I should have felt sad. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Let's take it out. You shouldn't feel anything. You're allowed to feel whatever you want. But I just didn't feel that sadness that I've had every single year. I'm like literally dancing and singing the music. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if Liam was here, maybe we'd be having a dance party. And then I'm kind of almost feeling like I am, truthfully, like I am. And so yeah, it was good. And then of course it didn't launch the 18th and it kept going. I did the first LoCure launch party with like the original LoCure orders, the tribe, the community, like the group of people that really have supported like LoCure's launch. And so basically what I did was I invited them all over and I told them about what's happening. And just in the sense of telling people about it, you could just see the hype. Yeah. Just you could see the people excitement, and even just being able to come back with a family. The thing I kept hearing back too was the fact that LoCure's bringing people together. And Riley, one of Liam's best friends, he put it on the website under his piece. Liam had a gift for bringing people together, everyone together. It didn't matter what area of life you were, like we were all accepted. And when you came to something of Liam's, everybody was one, and it was really great. Like that's why bullying was not a thing. We're gonna stop that right there before it starts. So with all that said, like Riley said on the site, he said, well, even though you're not here, Liam, here you are, literally still making communities, still making impact, still literally having a story. And so it was just so, it was nice to see that. But then a second thing I had developed is as LoCure's expanding and it's hitting more of a community, people don't know who Liam is because now we've hit outside of Liam's people. So that's not a problem. That's the whole point. We're expanding past it. But let's give credit to the boy behind the brand. And of course, Clarice and I, like we've co-founded, we've built this thing together and designed it. But both of us say it's like, it's Liam's brand. That's why it's LoCure by Liam. Like, I'm happy to put that name on there because it's not mine. And seriously, like putting it together and having LoCure by Liam, the people, the love people are having. And I mentioned this actually to a couple people because I had some medical appointments on Zoom. So I'm literally Zooming in the midst of like chaos behind me. There's garments, there's stuff happening. People are like, what are you doing? Like, oh, let me tell you what's happening. And basically one of my providers, my dietitian, she just like exploded. She love her to bits, Paige. Shout out to Paige. But she basically was like, LoCure is amazing, Kaylee. So I told her about it, quietly was launching, didn't end up launching for the date I told her, but she went on LoCure and started watching it. I don't know how she found the site because I was like, we're kind of like hidden right now. And she went through and she emails me or whatever. I can't remember how she emailed me, but texted me and said, this is amazing. I've talked to a bunch of people and we actually want LoCure to be doing this and this and this. She brought up the idea of like a half marathon. And so that's like in the works. I'm not going to put any attention too much on that until I have a final dates and stuff, because that's kind of transferred and changed a bit. But it was the first time that I saw someone outside of Liam's circle say, I'm gonna make this and push it. And I was like, what? Like, talk about compliment, right? And the fact that she thought the mission and she read the story, and so she started sharing it out. And so she's been great to get that exposure. But then I had that was exciting news, to share at the launch party. People were super like excited and everything. Again, energy fuels me. When people give me energy, like I return it 10 times more. So everyone's excited, like, okay, hyper focus on LoCure, boom, haven't slept, getting everything out, new collections. So for the 5th anniversary, I had all these different products and I thought LoCure needs to be affordable for everybody, because though you might not be able to get one of the most expensive, beautiful hoodies that you might want, it doesn't mean that you can't get something from LoCure. And I think that was like maybe missing on the website. So I opened up LoCure as LoCure for all prices, literally starting at $10.99. So that even if you maybe just wanted a keychain, you could get a keychain for $10.99. That's including tax kind of thing. So you're not having to pay for a hoodie to be able to support LoCure, or to be able to not just support LoCure, but to have LoCure with you, because LoCure then becomes your LoCure, right? It says LoCure by Liam, but LoCure's about you. And so that was a huge thing. We added in like complete new collections, and I say we again, like it was a lot of work on me and the puppies, but I designed tote bags, and coincidentally they came as black and ivory, and so I called them the Shadow and Halo collection. It's signifying again mental health. Halo being like light within the darkness, but like let's be real, the shadow, the cloud is real. I mean, I'm a black girl, I love black, so like I'm probably would rep black anyways. It doesn't mean like you're representing just shadow, but it's like mental health awareness. So these tote bags, and then I put together little, not pencil cases, but like tiny little compact travel bags, because I do a lot of work and I travel. So I was thinking if I need it, someone else would use it. So I thought this could be used for makeup brushes. It could be used for a little thing like chargers and stuff, you name it. It just keeps your stuff organized. Well, then when I was doing my photo shoot launch, literally K-Ray's face, again, K-Ray wouldn't be here without Liam. So the fact that LoCure's launching K-Ray in like, it's LoCure. Like I love it because it's Liam. Liam's launching me, and that's true. That's why I built this stuff. But the fact that you would be able to buy something that's affordable, A, you'd be able to get that access, B, you're able to support Liam and proceeds going towards his memorial site. But then again, past that, I wanted that to then pivot all proceeds after we get the memorial site. What are we going to do? So that's where the next step came in for like future LoCure. Of course, proceeds going towards Liam's site now, but like that's going to be done pretty soon. I mean, goals would be like right away. All the proceeds from LoCure, period, are going as a nonprofit. All money is providing free accessible resources, whatever that means, and however that means, through the LoCure website. So yes, LoCure stands for clothing. Yes, we got the apparel and I want you to buy it, but you don't need to buy something from LoCure. It's a website of resources. It's a website of contact. It's a website to funnel you. Okay, that's like the best. It's a resource funnel. Not my resources. It's just the direction for you to seek out however you're needing your education or whatever your answers are, your questions. So that's really cool. The mini little things that I was talking about before with the totes. as I'm taking the photo shoot and stuff, I got some of the girls to hold them. And I looked, I was like, oh my goodness, it looks like Kate Spade. Like there's literally a tote with a miniature wallet. It's not a wallet, but I was like, mini tote? Big tote? Like, come on. Could not have been better. It came in ivory, black, and gray. The Shadow Halo collection could not be more perfect. So using like Kate Spade inspo, I was like, literally, this is a pair set. So now, of course, you have your tote bag, but like, let's be real. When you throw stuff in a tote bag, things get lost, especially if you got lots. So you got a little tote bag. You know, all these different options. So it became the legacy t-shirts are like the fundamentals. The Threads of Remembrance hoodies are fundamentals. But then as LoCure continued to expand, it's getting more. I expanded to jewelry boxes, so little travel keepsakes. They're called Forever Treasure Chests because really your chest should hold so much value as your valuables inside the chest, right? So it's like your little treasure chest. Bookmarks, yeah, there's other stuff. The newest things coming out is new shirts, new things, new logos will be coming up too. So just like I took it and where I started with like this grapefruit story of like reconnecting LoCure to like the mission of 2025. I was like, let's relaunch the website. Well, the website has expanded and amplified like crazy. Now we have more products. I've launched since December, which I just keep creating more. I did toddlers, I did youth and kids, because let's be real, we're adults, but isn't that the whole point of the message for the youth? So like, let's build that foundational. And if you're a family who supports mental health, you as a family can have these open conversations because everyone fits the size. And so it's not like a men's, it's not a women's. I even call it unisex, right? Because it fits everybody. But an all sizes, all inclusive sizing. But let's do toddlers, let's do kids. So there's even that. So all this different stuff I put together, and now people are starting to see it. LoCure, literally from last week to this week, we actually launched in Banff last weekend, which was crazy. We were invited for a men's mental health event and PTSD. I got to go on stage, had my 15-minute little my intermission act, chat about LoCure, share the mission. And the audience was from Vancouver, from Canmore, Banff, Revelstoke, Kelowna, Calgary, literally all over the place. And the feedback was unbelievable. And it was like, again, back to the theme of seeing how LoCure has just like, it's Liam, but it's Liam's legacy. But LoCure's becoming for you. And so people are asking about it. We got literally from that event, we already got lined up for another event 4 weeks later, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And then we got invited to do monthly events. Next thing is silent auctions. I'm putting it together right now. Well, we're putting it together, ideas in progress. LoCure's got talent, which would be a fundraiser event. There's going to be potentially this marathon race, whether it's half a marathon, 5K, 10K. We're organizing the details. It's going to become huge. So it's just like LoCure started literally from nothing. And then even just December, the grapefruit story, my goal was just to put what was already existing online. But then if I'm already putting what's existing, there was already stuff that I had developed and done and just hadn't taken photos to put it up on the site yet. That was Liam's 5th anniversary. So it's called the Eternal Reminder Collection. And it's basically like called LoCure 2.0 because it's LoCure. But it's not that we're using Liam as a marketing thing, it's opposite of that. It's if the boy has 2 days a year really that are dedicated to him, the day that the world lost him and the day that the world gained him, those dates are like really important to be fundamentals for LoCure, because LoCure means something for you, but those days they mean something for Liam.
Right.
And the people for Liam. So that's why the 5th anniversary collection I thought was like a really beautiful way to put his face on the website, give him the credit, give him, I mean, the reminders. 5 years is crazy as passed, but even like the growth of just how everything's happened. The people, like even the kids, like 15 out and what 20, 21. So they're adults, and I can't even call them kids anymore. So they're they're able to be part of this and do these events, and so it's just expanded even concerts, and people are asking to be a part of LoCure. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, when it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours in good and bad. And at least we're in the good phase now. It's like the energy's aligned. It's like the mission is like, it's just hitting differently. People are wanting to be connected. People are wanting to promote people. So I literally can't even keep up. That's why I pulled an all-nighter, because it's just like, I'm not going to let anything fall. I'm not going to let opportunities fall. If people want us here, like, oh my God, we'll take more all-nighters and we'll run. But like, that's the thing, to see how it's transpired and how like something from a sister's promise and like a sister's love for her brother, turning her pain and his pain into purpose. And and using his creativity and, his friendships. All the models are people within his life. Like even, your younger brother, Nick, he's on the site. And so there's so many, everyone that part of it is a part of Liam. LoCure's growing up with his people, but it's expanding. And then now what I've said is the motto on the website itself is what LoCure is yours. So you pick your logo, and I basically made it before it was like all the products on one page. So you didn't really know the difference, right? It's just LoCure, like Lulu. What color do you want? Now I've made almost like 7 sub websites within the website itself. And each has a logo. It explains the meaning, the story, and before it was quite like brief. And I think the story is so impactful because that's what gives you purpose. That's what the message is. That's what you're wearing. So you're like, you need the story. So having that on the site, people can shop it, figure out what message they want LoCure to be for them, and then you design your own LoCure. You wear your story. So yes, it's my story, but you're wearing your story. So choose your story, choose your logo, choose how you want, I guess, to share and be bold and loud and proud about your journey. It could be the boat, as simple as the boat, and it's just simply your journey. Or it could be like you've gone through, you've lost someone, you can relate to anything that I've explained, and those particular logos are for you. Even bucket hats we got out and stuff. So it's been really, really cool. And then I said that I wanted to give Liam that attention since the website's turned. So I added in a separate website kind of sub-page, but it's stories of Liam. And I think I mentioned briefly, but basically every single person, I mean, even anybody watching this who has a story with Liam who I haven't chatted with before, there's a section on the page, like on the site, that you can actually contact me, send me a message. It's going directly to me, send me a hi. But people can add those stories and put a face to the name. And no matter how big LoCure gets in 10, 15 years, the people how Liam is remembered now will never fade, because the stories are so present and still vivid that people can share them. So even in 10 years time like that for our family, it probably takes honestly an hour to go through all the stories, because some of the stories are honest to God beautiful, like beautiful. And I just think about the fact that I thought so highly of my little brother because he's my little brother, but that to see how loved he is from everyone else and the respect, and people were telling me it's unbelievable to see how much respect he has. And it's true, like the kid was the goofiest kid, but like he was so also professional and respectable, like just all around well-rounded, like literally a whole man and more. And so because of that, I mean, LoCure represents that and more. It's got Garbo on the site, it's got his friends on the site, it's got his stories on the site, his drawings, and as LoCure continues to expand for like events and fundraisers and like the nonprofit kind of fundraiser stuff. Yeah, it's last week we hadn't even ever had an event yet. Now we're literally not just had our first event and first launch in a different city, but we're planning on Vancouver's the next one. And then we're planning on even like all these events. We're getting people flown in. I can't even imagine. So like even,
Who knows?
for goodness sakes, yesterday I was a one-man team. When I woke up by the evening before I went to bed, I had 5 people on board as like volunteer employees, ready to work for free. But like, oh my goodness, I can't manage everything. I'm falling apart. So then literally yesterday, I was Kaylee LowKure, and then it was like, we have a team. That was in 24 hours.
I love it.
So it's just like, when it rains, it pours, for goodness sakes, it really does. And it's just the energy right now is aligned. It's fueled purpose. It's just crazy. And the feedback, when things come flowing at you easily without any kind of hesitation, you're doing the right thing at the right time, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
And I truly feel that, because while of course, don't get me wrong, I'm a grieving sister. Like I can be all smiling and giggles all the time, but like, let's be real. I'm a grieving sister who's still trying to define what has happened to me and what that means for me in my life. And it's just like, I don't have the answers for everybody. I'm not the know-it-all at all. I'm the expert of my own experiences, and that's what I can expertly share on. I can chat about different courses and stuff I've learned, but truly that's my expertise, is what I've gone through, my story. And so the fact that it hits other people and it's being so impactful, even being invited by you to come on here, of course, like I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Because it's just like the most beautiful thing that you could possibly ask for. And then it's all Liam. Like I said, it's Liam, but yeah, it's
Well,
crazy.
thank you so much for sharing your story and allowing Loud Talk to be a space where you got loud about your story, Liam's story, LoCure's story, all of it. And Yeah, I really appreciate for like you
Mm.
letting us in on all of that, and everything you're doing is so important, so impactful, and it's making a difference. And
Mm.
Liam lives through you, through LoCure and everything, and people are taking, you know, his story, your story, all of it, and transforming into their own stories. So thank you so much for being on Loud Talk and getting loud with me.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having us. Seriously.
Yeah. So I'll have all of LoCure, everything that you guys can go check out, all the resources we talked about down below in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube and you're just listening in, go check out the video version. We have a really nice setup going. But I love you guys. Thank you for getting loud with us today. And you'll hear from me in the next episode of Loud Talk with Lavi. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in to this episode with Kaylee. Make sure to check out part 1 to hear the full story. And I'll have all the links down below in the description box so that you can discover LoCure by Liam to read more about the story, shop the clothing if you want to, and check out some of the resources that Kaylee has worked so hard to put together. This is actually the end of season 2 of Loud Talk with Lavi, ending on a very important message with these last 2 episodes featuring Kaylee. The podcast Loud Talk with Lavi will be taking a little bit of a podcast break to bring in so much new, fresh, amazing, and content even better than the last season for season 3. So stay tuned for that. We're only going to be away for a couple weeks, so make sure to go catch up on old episodes while you wait for season 3. But I love you guys. Remember to tell yourself that you love about your skin today. Remember that confidence is built from within. Subscribe so you don't miss out on the video version on YouTube and the audio version on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you catch your podcasts. I love you guys, and I'll see you in season 3. Bye.